As President Trump made no mention of impeachment while bragging about America's fortunes under his watch. The president steered clear of impeachment, instead touting his 3 years in office.
Our country is thriving,
declaring the State of the Union is stronger than ever. But the sharp divide with Democrats was on full display.
Members of Congress, the President of the United States.
From House Speaker Nancy Pelosi skipping over the usual language of high honor and distinct privilege while introducing the president, to him ignoring her offer of a handshake, though it's unclear whether he saw it. Democrats booed several times during the speech. And as Republicans cheered the president's finale, Pelosi ripped her copy of the address in half and threw it on her desk. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Reacting to tech troubles in Iowa, Nevada Democrats have scrapped plans to use similar technology at their caucuses in less than 3 weeks. The party says it will not use an app developed by the same company that created the reporting app for Iowa Democrats that has been central to that state's delayed results. One person was hospitalized after a fire at an Amazon warehouse in North Las Vegas Tuesday night. That fire began somewhere inside the building. Sprinklers did go off to help contain the blaze. The injured person was being treated for smoke inhalation. On the ice, the Lightning beat the Golden Knights 4-2. On Wall Street, the Dow starts the day at 28,807. With a check on our weather, here's News 3's Kelly Curran.
We're starting out with some very cold temperatures today, but temperatures rebounding into the mid-50s later this afternoon. We'll see mostly sunny skies and winds today lighter out of the north at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Keep listening for more updates throughout the day from News 3, your weather authority.
Sunny and 39 in Las Vegas. I'm John Schaefer on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, Las Vegas' only FM news talk station. With a check on the roads, here's John Michaels.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer. Slowing on the 95 in the West Valley southbound, heaviest between Craig and Jones Boulevard. And on the 95 in the East Valley, expect delays Charleston up to the Spaghetti Bowl. We had a crash reported on 95 southbound approaching Charleston. Also, the traffic light still out Cheyenne at Durango. That's causing directional delays all the way around, all 4 directions. Treat the intersection as a 4-way stop. Is your family ready for cold and flu season? The flu brings a fever, so be prepared with a thermometer you can trust. The Exergen Temporal Scanner, backed by more than 80 clinical studies. Visit Exergen.com. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to HelixSleep.com and get up to $200 off during their New Year sale.
I'm Jim Snyder.
And I'm Marie Mortera. We want to thank you for making News 3 your #1 choice for news.
Every weeknight at 11, you can count on us to have the big story of the day.
Plus breaking news that matters to you.
Jim Snyder and Marie Mortera. News 3 live at 11.
Chuck, I know it's super easy, but can you walk our listeners through the process of getting a signature loan at Dollar Loan Center?
You'll just need a couple things. Bring along your state-issued ID, recent pay stub, and a few pieces of mail to prove where you live. And if you're getting a loan online at don'tbebroke.com, you can scan and upload all your documents right to our members area.
Sounds easy. How long does the whole process take?
We print up the contract, walk you through it step by step, explain exactly what the costs are. We want to be sure you can really afford the loan. For a new customer, all this takes around 30 minutes, and you're out the door cash in hand. Once you're in the system, it's even quicker.
That was Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center, where you can get up to $5,000 in just minutes. We have over 50 locations, or you can apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed by Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet the normal loan qualifications. To review loan qualifications, visit us at don'tbebroke.com. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
There's a reason approved certified pre-owned Jaguars enjoy such an outstanding reputation. They were once new Jaguars. Hi, this is Ray Donardi. With the 100,000-mile approved certified warranty, pre-owned Jaguars still have plenty of life left in the tank. They're like new in every respect and waiting to take you on many more exhilarating drives. Come find yours today at Jaguar Land Rover Las Vegas, 6425 Roy Horn Way, or visit us online at jlrlv.com.
Hi, it's Alan Masters. Join me and my brother David for Advice Line, 10 to midnight, Monday through Friday on 720 KDON and 101.5 FM. That's Advice Line, America's live radio counseling program. If you've got problems, we've got answers. Monday through Friday, 10 to midnight.
Hi, Doug Basham here. Join me Saturday afternoons from 2 to 4, and I'll tell you what your conservative, corporate-controlled, right-wing propaganda hate media isn't. You're welcome. That's Saturday afternoons, 2 to 4. Be there.
1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, what's up, everybody? It is the Vegas Take. Happy Hump Day Wednesday, baby. We got a lot to get to, a lot to go over. Plenty of guests lined up for today, some good ones, some surprise guests, so we're going to have a good time. Obviously, we're going to talk about the speech last night by the President of the United States. The divide in this country is more than it's ever been. I mean, we are literally 50-50 divided as a country. Literally. We'll get to that. Coming up in hour number 2, this is a really interesting story and troubling. Did you hear what happened at this Kentucky gun rally? Apparently, a couple guys decided to dress up in camouflage, and they decided to dress up in guns, you know, with AR-15s. They looked like they were going to war, and they decided to walk into the state capitol like that. Well, one of those guys is Tony Wheatley, and he'll be joining us live coming up in hour number 2 to talk a little bit about that. We've got another principal talking about Kobe Bryant making social media comments that she believed Kobe Bryant deserved to die. We're going to talk about that coming up in hour number 2. And then our guys from Veterans in Politics, a great organization here in Las Vegas, will be joining us in studio. Their thoughts on Jay-Z and Beyonce and others that sat down during the national anthem of the Super Bowl. And Jay-Z's excuse, you're not going to believe what he had to say, the reason why he sat down. So they'll be coming in studio for hour number 3. I want to start with the State of the Union. I want to start with the speech last night. And what do I take away from the speech? How divided we are as a country. How pathetic the times that we are living in right now on both sides. And I blame both sides for it. We are so divided. I cannot say that enough. You know, it's one thing if a radio talk show host, whether you're on the right or the left, it's one thing if you're a talk show host and you're dividing the country and you're biased. You're doing it for ratings, you're doing it for money, whatever the case may be. It's one thing if a radio talk show host does it. I was having a conversation with our producer before the show, and he's right. You know, it's one thing if somebody like that is dividing the country. But these are our elected officials. They are supposed to be the grown-ups in the room. These are the people that we elected to serve this country, and they act like a bunch of 12-year-olds yesterday in the chamber. They really did. They really did. And I'll start with Nancy Pelosi, and I'll start with Donald Trump. Immediately, controversy started. You know, Pelosi's supposed to introduce the president. Pelosi is supposed to say that it was her honor and privilege to introduce the president of the United States. She didn't do that. She said, you know, here's the president, basically. I'm basically paraphrasing, but that's what she said. So it started there. And then she puts out her hand to shake the president's hand before he makes his remarks, and he doesn't shake her hand. He snubs her. Again, these are actions of a 12-year-old on both sides. And yes, after the speech, a lot of liberals and a lot of Democrats are applauding Pelosi for ripping up the speech. I think it's acting like a child. I didn't like it. I'll be honest with you. Even though I think you can make the argument, and it's fair to say a lot of things in that speech were lies, were mistruths. So her response was, you know, Trump shredded the truth, so I'm shredding his speech. What are we, folks? Are we children here? These are supposed to be adults. They're supposed to act like adults. Yes, in many situations and many occasions, the president does not act like an adult either. And I will get to his mistakes that I thought he made last night. And then the Democratic response. We had the governor of Michigan. It was supposed to be a response to the speech, and she didn't reference one specific thing in the speech that the president said. And I'm thinking to myself, it sounds like I'm listening to a speech from the Democratic National Convention. It is supposed to be, it is called the Democratic response to the State of the Union, and there was no response. It was just left-wing talking points. Like I said, it was just like somebody was up on the stage at the Democratic National Convention. It was no better than that. No better. I think everybody screwed up last night. And if you want to make the argument that the president brought the country together, he talked about religion. He talked about the Second Amendment and guns. He talked about abortion. He talked about immigration and you know, picked a few cases where illegals committed crimes. When we all know that the majority of illegals that enter this country are more law-abiding than Americans. So you can't say he brought the country together. You can't say it was one of those bipartisan speeches to bring people, because it wasn't. It wasn't. You're telling me Democrats want to hear about religion, guns, and abortion? It wasn't bringing the country together, so stop that nonsense, because that's absolutely, positively, 100% not true. It's just not true. So again, you ask me, what do I take away from this thing last night? We are extremely divided as a nation. That is not all on the president. I certainly bear a big part of the responsibility to the president of the United States. But this is the way it always has been, right, with these State of the Unions, where you'll have literally half the people, half the politicians sitting down for the most part, and half the politicians standing up and clapping. It's so childish, it's unbelievable. It's getting worse as it's ever been. I can't recall it ever being this bad. I remember Donald Trump, listen, he did honor some people that were very worthy, Rush Limbaugh not being one of them. I'll get to that in a couple minutes. But he did honor some great people there. A guy that served the country honorably that was over 100 years old. Now, why would Democrats not stand up and clap for that? Many of them were sitting down. It's true because I saw it with my own eyes. Many of them were sitting down, not giving this guy a standing ovation. That is unacceptable. That is divisive, and it divides the country, and it's wrong. Now, not to say that Republicans in the past, when Obama was president, weren't doing the exact same things, because they were. But that doesn't make it right. What's wrong is wrong. Stand up and clap and honor our heroes. And that man is a living legend. He is a hero. Why Democrats decided to sit down is beyond me. It doesn't make any sense. Again, acting like a child. Now, many of the Democrats want to say that the president acts like a child on a daily basis. I tend to agree with that based on his actions, based on his tweets, based on his behavior. I agree. But, you know, you can't preach that to us, and then your behavior says the same thing. Stand up and clap when we're honoring our heroes. Many of those Democrats did not do that. They didn't do it. And then we had a situation yesterday where the president, of course, is talking about the Second Amendment. And I have a problem with that. There was a part in his speech last night where he's talking about sanctuary cities and about how there have been situations where illegals have been allowed back into society and committed heinous crimes. In some cases, have killed people. Luckily, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And yes, I do think something needs to be done about that. And now I guess there's a new law that was passed that allows someone to sue the city in those sanctuary cities. Now, if you're going to pass a law like that, why not sue the NRA? Why not sue the gun manufacturers? Could the families who lost loved ones on October 1 sue the gun manufacturers that gave Paddock those guns to execute people? Because that's a slippery slope, folks. If you're going to sue those sanctuary cities, and that's okay, how about suing the gun manufacturers that make these assault weapons that have one main reason and one main goal, and that is to kill as many people as possible? It's not for hunting. It's not for self-defense. So don't you give me that load of crap. It's that many of these weapons were built for one reason and one reason only: mass execution. So why can't some of these families sue the gun manufacturers if you're going to sue the sanctuary cities? Well, the sanctuary cities, those who put those laws into place, they didn't kill members of your family. It was that illegal immigrant that did it. Right? So if you're going to go by that logic and you can sue the city, well, those gun manufacturers, they didn't cause the mass shooting, but they're the gun manufacturers that allowed that person to handle that gun and carry that gun and execute people. Going by that same logic, you should be allowed to sue the gun manufacturers. I don't agree with that logic, It doesn't make any sense. Does that not mean that we should do something about some of these criminals that are illegals? Listen, I'm very firm on that. If you commit a felony and you're an illegal, that's it. You're done. You should never be allowed in this country again. I've got no problem with that. I've got absolutely no problem with that. But suing the cities, I don't agree with that. Like I said, I think it's a very, very slippery slope. I never have agreed with that, and I never will, quite frankly. And you want to talk about dividing the country. We spoke about Rush Limbaugh yesterday. I'm going to speak about him again today. And this has nothing to do with how sick he is, how ill he is. You know, there's a lot of people, a lot of his close friends that say he doesn't have a lot more time on this earth. That should have absolutely nothing to do with yesterday. So he was awarded the Medal of Freedom. That's right. Rush Limbaugh was awarded the Medal of Freedom. Now, just to give you a little bit of background on what this Medal of Freedom is, it was established by President John F. Kennedy back in 1963. It's a prestigious award. It's the nation's highest civilian honor. And it's awarded by the President of the United States to individuals who have been have made exceptional contributions to the security of national interest of America, to world peace, culture, or other significant public or private endeavors. I'll give you a list of some of the people that have received this award. Steven Spielberg, Muhammad Ali, Angela Merkel, Nancy Reagan, Mother Teresa, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr. Now, I don't agree with every single person that's received this award. Like Alex Rodriguez, I don't think he's worthy of it. But Rush Limbaugh? So if you think I'm wrong about this, with Rush receiving this Medal of Freedom, I want to remind you of some of the things that he said throughout his career. Let's start with his comments about President Hu, former president of China. This is Rush Limbaugh, in his own words, mocking the president of China. Have a listen to this.
Nobody was translating. But that's the close I can get.
Boy, give that guy an award. He really sounds like a guy that certainly deserves a Medal of Honor. Wow, wow, Medal of Freedom. Do you remember what he said about Michael J. Fox? Michael J. Fox, one of the most loved actors in my generation. He was talking about a Michael J. Fox commercial soon after he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. Have a listen to this.
In this commercial, he is exaggerating the effects of the disease. He is moving all around and shaking, and it's purely an act. This is the only time I have ever seen Michael J. Fox portray any of the symptoms of the disease he had. He can control himself enough to stay in the frame of the picture, and he can control himself enough to keep his eyes right on the lens, the teleprompter. But his head and shoulders are moving all over the place. So this is really shameless, folks. This is really shameless of Michael J. Fox. Either he didn't take his medication or he's acting.
Let me explain to you. By the way, he's the only person that's being shameless here. Let me explain to you how bad those comments are. So he's basically saying that Michael J. Fox is acting and exaggerating his Parkinson's in this commercial. That would be like me going on the air right now and saying Rush Limbaugh is acting his cancer. Rush Limbaugh, in a way, is faking the cancer. That's how bad those comments are. It's the same analogy. It's the same thing. Boy, that really sounds like a guy that deserves Medal of Freedom, doesn't it? And by the way, that stupid look on Rush Limbaugh's face when the president announced that he had won this award, does he not have a phone? Does he not have the internet? Everybody on the planet knew he was getting this award because they released that. They released the information, and he has this stupid look on his face like he's shocked and surprised. Everybody in that room knew he was getting the award. You're telling me Rush Limbaugh didn't do it? I want to talk about a disingenuous person. It's unbelievable. You give this guy the award? Yeah, keep in mind, Rush Limbaugh's name is going to be next to the names of Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King. Are you effing kidding me? And don't you give me this stuff about how they gave it to him because he's dying of cancer. That should have nothing to do with this award. Okay? Nothing. Zero. Your health should have zero to do with this award. And you want to tell me that Donald Trump is bringing people together? You give this guy an award? Some of the other comments that he's made over the years, and I shouldn't have to read these out loud, but I'm going to. because this is the award given out by Donald Trump. He said women should not be allowed on juries where the accused is a stud. He said when a gay person turns his back on you, it's anything but an insult. It's an invitation. He said socks is the White House cat. But did you know there's also a White House dog? He also said, have you ever noticed how all composite pictures of wanted criminals resemble Jesse Jackson? Oh, yeah, it goes on. There's plenty of more things. I mean, he said hundreds and hundreds of racist things over the years. He said, I think it's time to get rid of this whole National Basketball Association. Call it the TBA, the Thug Basketball Association, and stop calling them teams. Call them gangs. He said, look, let me put it to you this way. The NFL all too often looks like a game between the Bloods and the Crips without any weapons. There, I said it. Make no mistake about it, folks. Did I take that out of context? Did I take those comments out of context? No, I didn't. Those are racist remarks. Those are insensitive remarks. I've got plenty more if you want to hear them. And this is not the man who should be receiving this award. Now, I get it. If you're a Rush Limbaugh fan, you love his radio show, fine. Let me tell you something. I grew up loving Howard Stern. In fact, Howard Stern is one of the main reasons why I got into radio. If Barack Obama or Donald Trump gave Howard Stern the Medal of Freedom, I would say they were nuts. Because Howard Stern shouldn't be getting this award. Let me tell you who should be getting this award if it's a civilian award. People like Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. I'll give you an example. How about a firefighter who goes into a burning building and risks his life to save others? What about a cop? What about those people that were in that church a few months ago who stopped a mass shooting? They're heroes. Why don't you give them the award? I'll even go a step further and make it local. What about the person that reported the white supremacist about 6 months ago that allegedly was going to go into synagogues and kill Jewish people, was going to go into bars and kill gay people? The person who reported that guy saved lives. How about give him the award? How about the car accident that took place 3 weeks ago or a month ago, a few blocks from the radio station, where sadly 4 people lost their lives, but there were a couple good Samaritans that saved 2 children's lives. They went into that burning car, they pulled those bodies out of that car, they saved those 2 kids' lives. That should be the Medal of Freedom Award, not a guy who's done a radio show and has donated some money to charity and has said some misogynistic, racist things his entire life. It's a disgrace. And that is why I say how divided we are as a country right now. Can we all agree, Republicans and Democrats, whether you're a Rush Limbaugh fan or not, that was not the right person to get this award? For God's sakes, give it to a hero. Give it to a legend. Give it to someone who changed the course of history. Oh, yeah, and by the way, Kobe Bryant's name, was he mentioned yesterday? The answer is no. A page from the Fox News playbook. A page from the Laura Ingraham playbook. Thoughts and prayers and segments about Rush Limbaugh, a man who has said misogynistic and racist things throughout his entire career, but when it comes to a guy like a Kobe Bryant, we're not even going to mention his name. And Republicans want to say that Donald Trump's speech yesterday brought people together. It was contrary to that. It was the opposite. It divided this nation. It divided this country. It sounded like, it sounded like the Republican National Convention speech. That's what it was. Donald Trump talked about religion. He talked about guns. He talked about abortion. He talked about immigration. Just like the Democratic response to the speech, which wasn't really a response. It sounded like someone on the stage for the Democratic National Convention. That is why we are divided as a country. Our politicians have let us down on both sides of the aisle. They act like children. Your thoughts on the speech last night, your thoughts about Rush Limbaugh getting this Medal of Freedom Award, am I wrong? You think Rush deserves the award? Give us a call, 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call is 702-257-5396. Let's start off with Sean. Sean, you're first up on the Vegas Take. What's going on? Sean, are you there? Uh-oh, did we lose Sean? We lost Sean. Again, that number to call is 702-257-5396. Of course, we're talking about the speech last night by the President of the United States. We're talking about the award he gave out to Rush Limbaugh, which I thought was absolutely absurd and ridiculous. And I also think that both sides of the aisle are to blame for division of the country. I thought Pelosi's behavior was wrong. I really did. 257-5396. Go to Lou. Lou, you're first up in the Vegas Take. What's up?
Hey, Brian. Yeah, this country is so divided right now. It's ridiculous. A lot of the things Rush has said throughout his career have caused some of that also. But you're right. It is both sides right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this before in my life, and I'm a 65-year-old man.
Yeah, God
Been
bless
around
you.
a long time.
God bless you, sir. And, you know, you're right. The things that Rush Limbaugh has said have divided the country. But I will defend Rush when it comes to this. It's one thing if a radio talk show host divides the country, but it's another thing if our politicians are dividing the country, right?
I say, you know what? He getting an award for broadcasting or something like that, I can understand. He's a pioneer.
Right.
The radio. You know?
Sure, sure.
I don't know. Is he in the Broadcasters Hall of Fame?
I'm sure he would be. He's him and Howard Stern to me are the two, pioneers in the business. So I'm sure he would. But if you're a pioneer in radio, that doesn't mean you deserve an award. That's just my opinion. Not this award, anyway.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Lou, we appreciate the phone call, my friend. Thank you very much. 257-5396. Let's go to Donnell. Donnell, you are next up on the Vegas Take. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Well, I work for Clark County School District, and I'm driving on the road. But anyway, I just want to commend you for telling the truth, and very few radio talk hosts will do.
I appreciate that.
About Rush Limbaugh, and
Donnell, can I tell you, Donnell, I appreciate you saying that. Can I tell you something? We must have got, a dozen calls of people that wanted to be fired yesterday because I went on the air and I spoke the truth. And I said, I don't wish cancer upon anybody. I don't wish death upon anybody. I never would say something like that. On the same point, I'm not going to feel sorry for Rush Limbaugh because of the horrible things he said over the years. And because of that, the people that are wearing the Rush Limbaugh knee pads called in, wanted to take my job away from me, which, by the way, is not going to happen. I'm always going to speak the truth on this show.
Like I said, I just pulled over for a minute to speak with you because I'm on the road.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I wanted to just commend you for telling the truth, something that a lot of people won't do in America right now on the radio.
I appreciate that.
That's all I got to say. And you're absolutely right about Rush Limbaugh. He don't deserve it.
Well, I appreciate those kind words, sir, and I appreciate that sentiment. Thank you so much for calling in. Be safe.
Thank you very much.
Be safe on the roads. All right, my friend. 257-5396. Let's go to Nicholas. Nicholas, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hi, how you doing?
Good, Nicholas. What's on your mind?
Hey, so the one thing I did want to bring up, and I found it really funny, you watched the State of the Union last night, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so, and I wanted to call in about a couple other things in the past, but I finally got through this time. So if you go back, and I mean, it was just ridiculous watching them continue to obviously stand up, clap,
Right.
and obviously not allow him to finish his speech. But it was funny because I'm one of these people that I sit in the, on the progressive side, but I'm also very much in the middle as far as who I side with, with the left or the right.
Sure.
But one thing that I couldn't help but notice was when they were going through, or when Trump was going through all of his different accomplishments, let's say, that once they got to the ones about black unemployment,
Right, right, yeah.
when they stopped standing up.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, you're talking about the Republicans.
Yes.
Yeah,
standing up and clapping and, just not allowing him to finish the whatever that was.
Wait. So hold on. Wait, you're saying something crazy here. You're saying that there are people on the extreme right that maybe don't want minorities to succeed? Oh my God, I've never heard that one before.
Well, it's not even that. I'm just saying where you could actually see where their true feelings were playing out in real time.
That's a good point. Yep.
Oh, we're not going to stand and clap for that because that's not really moving.
It's so
us.
childish, man. And I'm going to blame both sides, Nicholas, to be fair. But you're absolutely right. Republicans and Democrats are to blame. This, by the way, some of those a lot of old people that were in that room, elderly people, boy, they were getting up and sitting down a lot. I'm a little afraid for their health.
For them. I'm like, somebody's going to break a hip doing that.
I do too. There was a guy sitting front row that looked like Larry Flint, and I'm like, this guy's not going to make it, man. No, you're right.
And the guy had him sign the tie on the way out. You would have watched him. He kept slobbering all over.
Yeah, what a doofus. Yeah, what a doofus. Nicholas, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it.
Have a good day.
I appreciate it. Yeah, they got them. Donald Trump, as he's walking out, he's signing all these weird things, Bibles and manuscripts and ties. It was just really weird, man. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I only have 2 phone lines open, but if you want to be a part of this conversation, I will get to all your calls on the other side. 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call is 257-5396. I'm sorry, you don't give this award to Rush Limbaugh. You don't give this award to a man who said misogynistic, racist things his entire career, and I just named a few of them for you. What are your thoughts on that? You think Rush deserves this award? Give us a call at 257-5396. Be back right after this.
Doug Jones says he will vote to convict the president on both articles of impeachment.
I did not run for the Senate hoping to participate in the impeachment trial of a duly elected president. But I cannot and will not shrink from my duty to defend the Constitution.
The full Senate will take an impeachment vote this afternoon, expected to result in the acquittal of the president. The White House says Venezuelan opposition leader Juan Guaido is getting a long-sought meeting with President Trump today in another show of U.S. support for the Venezuelan people. The World Health Organization is trying to downplay reports of breakthrough drugs being discovered to treat people infected with the new coronavirus, already an epidemic in China that has now spread to at least 20 other countries. The death toll has reached 500. More than 24,000 people are infected with the virus. The Dow is up about 350 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Still slowing on the Southern Beltway westbound in the East Valley. Expect slowing from the airport connector heavy to I-15. And then slowing continues westbound, west of the I-15 all the way over to Durango. If you're eastbound, no slowing out of the Durango curve. I-15 just about done. Some light southbound slowing remains between Spring Mountain and Tropicana. Whether you rent or own, Geico makes it easy to bundle home and auto insurance. Having a home is hard work, so get a quote at geico.com. Easy. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Let the fun begin with the all-new Fox Wednesday. Yes! It's TV's biggest competitions, The Masked Singer and the premiere of Lego Masters. First, TV's #1 show is bigger than ever.
The Masked Singer!
Then, Lego Masters turns a global phenomenon.
Welcome to Lego Masters.
Into a high-stakes reality competition.
I am super stressed out.
Hosted by Will Arnett.
Get your brick on!
Grab the family for the premiere of Lego Masters. Yes! Right after The Masked Singer. Fox tonight.
Hey, check out this report of our Office 365 email and the threats sitting in users' inboxes.
Wow, how did you get this?
There's a free tool called Barracuda Email Threat Scanner that can quickly and safely scan our Office 365 email for hidden threats like spear phishing and domain fraud.
Really?
Yeah, Barracuda Email Threat Scanner identifies hidden threats and employees most at risk for a cyber attack, all summarized in a complete report.
This is great.
Get your free email threat scan now at barracuda.com. Barracuda. Your journey secured.
You don't always know you're making history when you're living it. But if you're a business owner, you can help shape Southern Nevada's water future by conserving today. Replacing useless grass with water-smart landscaping and investing in water-saving technology has never been easier. Big rebates are available at snwa.com. Do your part to conserve. Be a founder of our future. SNWA is a not-for-profit water agency.
If your retirement plan is on set it and forget it, it's time to take control. Tune in for Financial Safari with America's Wealth Coach and best-selling author, Coach Pete DeRuta. For more than 25 years, Coach Pete has been helping people just like you plan for retirement. Join Coach Pete every week as he discusses topics like why your retirement plan should also be an income plan, and how to make sure you're getting the most out of your 401k.
Financial Safari with Coach Pete, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday afternoon at 2 on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
Is that he is the greatest fighter and winner that you will ever meet. Rush Limbaugh, thank you for your decades of tireless devotion to our country.
The greatest fighter and winner you will ever meet. Yeah, let's not talk about our heroes that are serving, that are men and women in uniform. Let's not talk about our firefighters and police officers that risk their lives every day to protect us. Let's not talk about the good Samaritans that risk their lives, whether it's a car accident, going into the flames to save lives, or somebody in a church that shoots somebody with a gun that wants to kill or hurt people. Let's not talk about them. Let's give the medal to Rush Limbaugh. What a sad freaking joke. The number to call is 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call is 257-5396. Phone lines are full, so if you're trying to call in, continue to do so. We'll get to as many as we can. Let's start off with Roger. Roger, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Yeah, listen, Rush Limbaugh went 30 years at number one. That is unprecedented in any industry, any field, journalism, academia, any field. When
Roger, I get it. Roger, I get it. But this award is not about your ratings. It's not about how many people listen to your radio show. That's not what this award is about. Just like Howard Stern. Listen, I grew up loving Howard Stern. I wouldn't want this award given to Howard Stern because this is a Medal of Freedom. We're talking about Rosa Parks. We're talking about Martin Luther King. While you're right, and I've said this about Rush Limbaugh, him and Howard are the two best in the history of radio. That should have no bearing on this award because of his ratings.
Well, I don't agree with Rush, on everything. I don't think there's anybody who does.
Now, Roger, I understand, but do you get my point? This award shouldn't be about the ratings you get, right? I mean, Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian, they have more Twitter followers than anybody. Does that mean we should give them an award for having a lot of Twitter followers?
Well, Rush actually sets the agenda. He really has.
Well, he said, hold on. Hey, let's talk about that agenda. Let's talk about how Rush sets the agenda. But this is Rush talking about President Who. Have a listen to this. Let's talk about that agenda. So that's him talking about a president of the United States. Is that the type of agenda you were talking about, sir?
Well, he's a comedian. He's funny.
You think that's funny, going after someone's accent, a president of another country? Do you think it's funny going after Michael J. Fox, calling him an actor because he has Parkinson's? Do you think that's funny?
Rush likes to,
Well, listen, listen. I'm asking because I care about your opinion, Roger. Do you think, Roger, that is funny, and that's the type of agenda you want, and that's the type of medal of freedom we should give to a guy like that? Do you think that's what we should be talking about?
Well, I don't think that's actually typical of what Rush does on a daily basis.
Well, he did it, though. Listen, if I went on the air right now and I said the N-word, which I never would, by the way, I've been on the air for 20 years, I wouldn't think an excuse would be, well, listen, the guy's been on the air 20 years. He doesn't do that every day. No, if I said the N-word and I did hate speech one time on the air, I should be fired.
Well, we all need to lighten up about some of this. I mean...
Well, I think a question you have to ask yourself is, if Rush Limbaugh was a liberal talk radio host, would Donald Trump have presented him with this award?
Of course not.
What makes Rush Limbaugh better for this award than, say, an Oprah Winfrey?
Well, listen, Oprah Winfrey, to my knowledge, has not said anything even close to the likes of what Rush Limbaugh has said. By the way, this award was established by President John F. Kennedy in 1963. It's a prestigious award, the nation's highest civilian award. Nothing to do with radio ratings. It was awarded the President of the United States to individuals who have made exceptional contributions to security of national interest of America, world peace, cultural, or other significant public or private endeavors. Some of them have received this award: Muhammad Ali, Nancy Reagan, Mother Teresa, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr. Now you could add Rush.
And by the way, Muhammad Ali is probably the greatest fighter you'll ever meet, not Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, exactly. 702-257-5396. Go to Becca. You've been waiting patiently on hold. Becca, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
What's up, Becca?
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to say I agree entirely with everything that you've been saying about this whole Rush Limbaugh Medal of Freedom. I do listen to his show, and unfortunately, I have to turn it off because sometimes, just because, I agree with some of the things he says, but when he gets nasty like that, it's just, I don't want that toxicity in my life.
Becca,
and I turned the channel. So,
Becca, I am so glad that you have turned the channel from Rush Limbaugh to the Vegas Take. I feel kind of fuzzy inside, Becca. No, but listen, in all seriousness, I appreciate you being honest, because here you are, a female listener who has listened to Rush Limbaugh, and when I play those audio clips, it makes you irk a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it really does. And it really upsets me that I was watching the State of the Union last night, and my jaw literally dropped because I was working all day yesterday. I did not have a chance to look at the news at all. I literally got home 4 minutes into the State of the Union starting, flipped on the TV, and I did not know that that was coming, and it made me feel ill that his name was going to be up there with the likes of Rosa Parks, Mother Teresa, these people who actually changed the world positively and changed people's minds and hearts in a positive manner, that now his name is going to be up there as well. It was not okay.
Becca,
I got to run into work again. So
Becca,
thank you so much.
Becca, I
thanks
appreciate
a lot, Becca.
I appreciate you calling. You call back anytime, okay? Thank you so much. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Mike. Mike, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Okay, your show is nothing but a troublemaker and being a buzzer. That's what amounts to altogether. It's nothing but a dignified. Bye-bye.
Mike, I'm sorry, I was interrupted. He hung up? Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry, I was interrupted by Rush Limbaugh. 702-257-5396.
You know, I haven't heard that word buzzard in quite some time, Mike. Thank you for bringing that back into my life. And hey, great call.
You're nothing but a troublemaker. You're a troublemaker. You're a troublemaker. He sounds like my...
your mom. Sounds like your mom.
He sounds like my counselor in high school that was like 95 years old. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Jeff?
Jeff, did we lose you? Oh, no, we lost Jeff. Let's go to Ralph. Ralph, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's up, Ralph?
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of things in the speech were lies. Could you point out which was lies?
Hey, JD, is your first name Jeff?
Ralph?
What?
Ralph? Ralph? What's your real name, Ralph? Ralph?
Come on, JD.
Ralph, if you're going to call into this show, you can use your real name. It's okay. Another coward, folks. Another coward who wants to call in under a different name. Thank you for the call, JD. You really fooled us there, buddy, with that voice. By the way, the number to call, 702-257-5396 is the number to call. We're talking about, obviously, the State of the Union speech last night. We're talking about Rush Limbaugh getting the Medal of Freedom Award. The likes of Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr. and Nancy Reagan, and now it's Rush Limbaugh. A man who said some pretty controversial things. I think that's pretty fair to say. Let's go to Marge. Marge, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on, Marge?
Hey, Marge.
Hi. I have to agree with the other caller. I'm glad that the Vegas Take came on at this time slot, so I don't have to listen to the famous Rush on the other channel.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Marge.
The several things about this medal. First of all, I was looking up the number of medals that Trump has given since his presidency. This is now the 15th one. Other presidents, including President Obama, have given a lot more. So I don't know what's going on with that. It seems strange. The other is that, it's Black History Month. He recognized Charles McGee, General Charles McGee, and all of his work, that he did for the country. He certainly was deserving of that award.
I agree.
It could have easily been done.
You know what, Marge?
Marge,
I agree, Marge. Let me ask you a question because I brought this up about 10 minutes ago. I could even name a few people in Las Vegas, and there's probably a lot more, but I'm just giving you a few examples. How about that horrible car accident that took place at Durango and Desert Inn? There were a couple of good Samaritans. In fact, one, I believe, that works in this building that actually helped save two kids' lives, got them out of a burning car, putting their own lives at risk.
Oh, yeah.
Those are heroes. They deserve the award. How about the guy who tipped off the FBI about this white supremacist in Vegas, by the way, 6 months ago? This white supremacist planned on going into synagogues and bars, killing homosexuals and Jews. That man, because of his vigilance and calling the police and the FBI, saved lives. Those are the people that deserve this award, not some radio talk show host who talks hate speech on the air almost every single day, by the way. I understand he's sick and he's got cancer. That should have no bearing on this award.
No. Well, and part of it is, it's the good old boys type of club, basically, that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, I'm surprised that the next show that follows you, the host isn't going to get one of those awards somewhere along the line, too,
Well, I'll say this about, and you're talking about Sean Hannity. I will say this about Sean Hannity. He has never said that.
I would argue that Sean Hannity would be more deserving than Rush Limbaugh. If he
I would actually tend to agree with that. I've met Sean Hannity before. Listen, I'm not saying these things because Sean Hannity is on the air here. Listen, I disagree with a lot of the things he says on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But to my knowledge, Sean Hannity has never said some of these atrocious things about minorities, about women. He just doesn't do that. And even on his television show and his radio show, I give him credit for at least talking about the Kobe Bryant stuff. You think Rush is talking about Kobe Bryant? Remember, do we remember some of the things he said about the basketball? He said, I think it's time to get rid of the whole National Basketball Association. Call it the TBA, the Thug Basketball Association, and stop calling them teams, call them gangs. Rush Limbaugh is a racist.
Yeah.
Period. He's a racist.
Yeah.
Marge, I appreciate you calling in, by the way. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. 702-257-5396, number to call. Let's go to Jesus. Jesus, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Brian?
Good, man.
Yeah,
What's up, Jesus?
I agree with you on Rush Limbaugh. He's a bit bombastic and blowhard, you know.
But I don't mind that. Jesus, listen, I don't mind a radio host that's bombastic. And listen, if you get ratings and you get listeners, all the power to you. What I do mind is racist, misogynistic comments. And then on top of that, the President of the United States honoring him with a medal. To me, it's disgusting.
Yeah, I did. For a while there, I was listening to him, and, I just switched over. I listened to you. I listened to this other fellow named Mike. I don't know the station. I can't remember his last name.
I don't know who Mike is. Listen to the Vegas Take. Jesus.
Sure. No problem, man. It's your show.
Well, listen, man, I appreciate that, Jesus. And,
thanks for calling,
and I
Jesus.
find that...
I just want to say,
Sure.
I'm a Christian conservative, and, sometimes I agree with you, sometimes I don't, but, I still like your show.
Well, Jesus, that's what it's all about, my man. Have I ever called you a name on the air? Have I ever been rude to you? Of course not. No. I'm rude to people that are rude to us, And listen, Jesus, there's nothing... I'm sorry, Jesus. Appreciate the call. There's nothing wrong with you disagreeing with me. Let me be very clear on that. In fact, I'd rather have people call in and disagree. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to call into the show and the first thing you're going to say, like that guy who called a couple calls ago and say, oh, you're a bunch of troublemakers. Well, then I'm going to play some Rush Limbaugh audio over you to drown you out. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Richard. Richard, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's up?
What's up, Richard?
Yeah, I agree with you on some of these matters. Rush Limbaugh, though, he's been I believe the Medal of Freedom should be made for true heroes.
Exactly.
People that have put their lives at risk to save other people. And
Amen.
That have saved lives and just done spectacular things. But Rush he's been a champion all of his life, and that is the cause of his life, for limited government and individual rights and freedom.
Okay, but those are political views.
He's promoted those, and that's his purpose.
Richard, I don't have a problem with that. Those are his political views, and that's fine. What I have a problem with are a couple different things. The racist, misogynistic comments, we've read some of them and we've played some of them. I have a problem with that. That's where my issue is. I don't care what his political agenda is. I could care less about that. The president giving an award to a man who has gone after people with Parkinson's, has gone after minorities, was fired from ESPN for saying racist comments.
I listened to the comments that, I listened to his comments on Michael J. Fox, and I didn't listen to him closely enough yesterday.
Right.
And those remarks are indefensible, and
right.
that was a terrible thing he said. And he's when you're on the air, though, 30 years, you're going to make stupid mistakes, and you're going to occasionally say terrible things.
I mean, what about the NFL? What about the NFL calling, the situation where...
Let me ask, I have the comment, JD. I have it right here. What about this, Richard? This is what he said about the NFL. Let me put it to you this way. The NFL all too often looks like a game between the Bloods and the Crips without any weapons. There, I said it. To me, that's not a mistake. Those are his true feelings, Richard.
Yeah, but, sometimes these guys, when a lot of people act with thuggish behavior, and, there's a lot of white guys in the NFL that fit that description. They are, these guys that beat their wives.
What percentage of people in the NFL have committed felonies? Do you know the answer to that?
Less than the general public.
Yes, exactly. So you think that's a fair statement for Rush Limbaugh to generalize the entire NFL the way he did?
He loved the NFL for most of his life.
And then he was fired.
He felt that football players should set a higher standard because.
Well, I think radio. Well,
what they got.
Understood, Richard.
Which isn't unreasonable, and I agree with that. They should have set a higher standard, like the Kareem Hunt situation and Tyreek Hill. We've discussed this, ad nauseum. But that being said, using terms like blood and Crips and not considering the fact that we'll say 40% of the NFL is probably Caucasian, and it's very, very racist.
Guess
and
what?
It's not necessary
A radio host, I agree with you. A radio host with a national platform with millions and millions of listeners also should be held to a higher standard.
Or just say that.
Yeah.
Say that they should be held to a higher
But
standard.
he doesn't do that. He goes the racist route.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I
wouldn't have a problem if he said that.
It's that lowest hanging fruit route, impersonating the Chinese president, for example.
Exactly.
It's lowbrow humor, and that's one of the reasons that I'm not a huge fan of the way that Rush Limbaugh goes about it.
It's despicable. 702-257-5396. Sharon, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on, Sharon?
What's up, Sharon?
Hi, thank you. As a mother of 2 firefighters in Vegas and also a soldier that's been deployed to Afghanistan 3 times and is there again now, I am appalled the president would award this medal to someone who is so racist. He's also a pig when it comes to women. He does not promote peace. He creates division and chaos.
Sharon, Sharon, you and I are in agreement here. First of all, let me say thank you so much for what you've had to go through because of the heroes in your family, number one. And number two, I could not agree with you more. This should go to a firefighter, a police officer. I am so glad, Sharon, that there are families in Las Vegas like yours. And thank you so much for your phone call. I could not agree with you more. 257-5396. Let's go to Keith. Keith, you're next. What's up?
What's up, Keith?
First-time caller. I'm kind of old school, and the only thing I was going to say is, am I the only person who's so tired of the fighting between the left and the right?
Uh-huh.
I'm an independent.
Yep.
I think we all should kind of be that way because we should see on what the choices and what the person is pushing, and party. I'm not going to back someone up on a party if they're doing something that's totally opposite.
Hey, Keith, I'm sorry to interject, but were you listening at the start of the show at 9 a.m.?
No, I wasn't. I'm sorry.
No, Keith, you don't have to apologize, my friend. We're all busy, but I just want to explain to you for the first 10 minutes of the show, I said almost exactly what you just said. I'm tired of the division. I'm tired of Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats. I'm tired of the Republicans. They act like kids. They divide the country. I said it pretty much exactly what you said, Keith. I agree with you.
I'm getting physically in my stomach, I get tired.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you remember when all this kind of arguing and fighting amongst people was only based on what religious views you had or didn't have?
Yeah, I do. That was 20 years ago. Not anymore.
Yeah, that was forever. Up
Yeah.
until about 20 years ago, it was, hey, I'm, Catholic, Mormon, this, and you used to fight about that.
You're right,
hey,
Keith.
talk about it.
You're right, Keith. And now, guess what? Now it's about everything. We argue about everything. I should say our politicians do. Let's go to David. David, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, David.
Hey, thank you. I'm honored to be on your show. Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, anytime. I appreciate that.
I have no problem with Rush Limbaugh getting this award simply because people like Ellen DeGeneres, Bill Cosby, Emilio Estevez, Bruce Springsteen, Elvis Presley.
You're right.
They've been given the same award. So
David, you're right.
Go back and say,
David,
Bill
you're right.
Cosby,
You're right.
You're
right. David, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to say I agree with you. I don't agree with giving those people the awards. However, with that being said, last I checked, Ellen DeGeneres has never said racist, misogynistic things on her show.
She has said hateful things on her show.
All right, well, you'd have to give me a quote, and if she did, then I'll agree with you. But listen, I don't agree with A-Rod. I don't agree with A-Rod getting the award either. But
correct me if I'm wrong. Tiger Woods got it too last year, didn't he?
I don't mean to interrupt, but here's my point. If I were to look at Emilio Estevez or Ellen DeGeneres and say who's had a larger impact on our society, Rush Limbaugh or Ellen DeGeneres or Emilio Estevez or Elvis Presley or any of the others that received the award for nothing but being entertainers, and Rush is an entertainer, who's had a bigger impact with a bigger following? I would have to say Rush Limbaugh.
Okay, but that's it's a low bar. But hold on a second. Let me just explain. It's a low bar that you're setting, and I don't think entertainers per se should be getting this award. And if you read
I'm saying the low bar has been set for eons.
Which is
Elvis
wrong.
Presley received this in the 70s.
Okay. I understand, David, but why can't we raise the bar and say, listen, enough is enough? Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Nancy Reagan. These are the type of people that we should be giving awards to, not radio talk show hosts that have a large listenership. We need to raise the bar, David.
Talk show
Right.
hosts.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. We don't disagree, David. We just need to raise the bar. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Sir, I agree, and not being argumentative. If the bar right now is people who have an impact on our society, if that's the bar right now, and I'm not saying it shouldn't be raised, if that's the bar, then I'm saying Rush Limbaugh has had a more positive effect on our society than Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby was not a, hold on. Bill Cosby, for the record, was not a known rapist when he got this award. I think we need to make that clear. 702-257.
But if that's the bar, then Bieber's coming up, Kanye's coming up, Taylor Swift's coming up.
Well, let's not get crazy here. But you never know. Donald Trump might be giving Bieber the next award.
Could happen.
702-257-5396. Let's talk about. Let's go to Brian.
Gentlemen.
What's up, Brian?
Well, that last guy stole my thunder. I was going to go through the list just like he did.
Sorry, you're not original, Brian. I'm not surprised.
You just have to adapt quickly in real time.
A little later. He did an excellent job of putting that forth. Joe Biden's on the list too, by the way.
I'm sorry, we have Rush Limbaugh. We have Rush Limbaugh on the line. I'm sorry. Hey, Rush, I'm sorry. We have to go. Brian's on the line. Sorry, Rush. We got to go. I'm sorry. Rush just completely interrupted our program, Brian. I apologize. Oh, Brian hung up. Oh, Jesus, that's too bad. 702-257-5396 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the show. Let's go to Brady. Brady, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Brady?
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. And Krusty, you should have been fired yesterday. You're still disrespectful to the man, the icon of radio, who's done more for this country with his knowledge, more knowledge that he has than his pinky finger.
So let me ask you a question, Brady.
Your whole body.
Brady, then why are you listening? Brady, then why are you listening to our show then?
Because Rush isn't on today, bro.
You call our show every day, you frickin' liar. You call our show
have 2
every.
radios, bro,
You call our show.
bus.
So you have nothing better to do with your time than listening to 2 different radio shows at the same time.
I'm working at the same time,
Thank you for the call, Brady. We appreciate it.
Good call, Brady.
I guess Rush doesn't have good fill-in hosts, I guess, according to Brady. He just listens to our show. So I guess I'm better than Rush's fill-in national host. I guess that's what Brady was saying. I have about 30 seconds for Jeff. Jeff, go ahead, my friend. I'm sorry. I'm up against a hard break. I got about 30 seconds. Go ahead.
What's up, Jeff?
No, it's Chuck. Did Pat Tillman ever get that deal?
I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. We'll look that up. But I would say he probably deserved it, right?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be more of a...
He's a hero.
First time I agree with you, Brian. The selection is suspect. I'm a Trump
listen, Jeff, I appreciate your honesty, and I'm sorry, my friend. I'm up against a hard break. By the way, Pat Tillman, I believe, did get the Medal of Honor, but didn't get the Medal of Honor, but he did get a different award. Thank you for that call. We appreciate it. Coming up next, Tony Wheatley from Kentucky's gun organization. We'll go to him next. Coming up.
Let the fun begin with the all-new Fox Wednesday. Yes! It's TV's biggest competitions, The Masked Singer and the premiere of Lego Masters. First, TV's #1 show is bigger than ever.
The Masked Singer!
Then, Lego Masters turns a global phenomenon.
Welcome to Lego Masters.
Into a high-stakes reality competition.
I am super stressed out.
Hosted by Will Arnett.
Get your brick on!
Grab the family for the premiere of Lego Masters. Yes! Right after The Masked Singer. Fox tonight.
Hey, Chuck, I bet a lot of people don't know that you started Dollar Loan Center right here in Nevada.
True story. Over 20 years ago with just 2 employees in a 400-square-foot office on East Sahara in Vegas. Most people think since there are Dollar Loan Center locations everywhere that we're some big national corporation.
I did.
Nope, not at all. We're proud to be a Nevada-born company and give back more to our local communities than any alternative lender I know. We're one big family at the DLC. We employ hundreds of Nevadans, have over 250,000 active customers who count on us every day.
Trust me, I know how lucky the community truly is to have DLC. That was Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center, based right here in Nevada, where you can get up to $5,000 in just minutes. We have over 50 locations and our friendly staff are ready to help. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed by Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet the normal loan qualifications. To review loan qualifications, visit us at don'tbebroke.com. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
My name is Sam Murjovsky.
I'm Ashley Watkins, the Ash of Sam and Ash.
Sam and Ash, your personal injury attorneys. Find them at samandash.com.
What's most important to me and to Ashley is managing the kind of practice that puts the client's case first.
You're helping them get through something that they never anticipated happening to them.
Find out more at samandash.com or call 1-800-304-2000. Sam and Ash, because you deserve what's right.
You need an attorney that's focused on helping you get to the end that you deserve.
Kilmeade, Hannity, Levin. 1015 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Here's FBI Director questioned. I'm Mike Moss. U.S. senators stopping for votes among Democratic voters in New Hampshire are having to fly off to Washington for this afternoon's historic Senate vote on the 2 articles of impeachment against the president. Bernie Sanders telling supporters he dressed for the occasion.
The reason I'm wearing a tie is I'm going to be on a plane in a few minutes, going to Washington, D.C., to vote for the impeachment of President Trump.
Elizabeth Warren telling her backers.
Usually I can stay forever to do selfies. Today, I'm headed to Washington to vote for the impeachment of Donald Trump.
Sanders and Warren notwithstanding, the Senate is expected to vote to acquit the president. FBI Director Christopher Wray was asked today whether the president had sought FBI investigations into his adversaries.
I have assured the Congress, and I can assure the Congress today, that the FBI will only open investigations based on the facts and the law and proper predication. No one has asked me to open an investigation based on anything other than the facts, the law, and proper predication.
Thank you. Tens of millions of Chinese residents are being restrained from travel because of the spreading coronavirus. Correspondent David Culver's in Beijing.
The lockdown zones are expanding. We're learning about more and more cities that are enacting their own lockdown measures, and some of them are pretty extreme. And you've heard about Huanggang, and they have essentially folks leaving every other day, one person designated in the household.
The death toll now approaches 500, with more than 24,000 infected by the epidemic in China. A powerful winter storm is bringing snow and ice to parts of the central U.S. The National Weather Service says winter storm warnings are in effect from eastern New Mexico to the St. Louis area. Forecasters say parts of northwest Texas could see up to 8 inches of snow today. On Wall Street, the Dow was up 359. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner Road Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Upwork. A crash reported on the Southern Beltway westbound west of I-15, blocking 2 left lanes of the Southern Beltway. That is active right now. Expect heavy delays. And the utility crews are working to fix the lights. Traffic lights are out Cheyenne at Durango all the way around. Take an alternate route to avoid heavy delays or treat the intersection as a 4-way stop. And a crash reported Harmon at Las Vegas Boulevard. Upwork has the largest network of independent professionals like designers, developers, data scientists, you name it. When you need in-demand talent on demand, Upwork is how. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, taking Nevadans to Capitol Hill for the latest on the federal issues that matter most to you.
Eye on Washington, Saturday morning at 9:30 on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
Hi, I'm Raymond Denon, Vice President of Optima Tax Relief. If you're in debt to the IRS, there's a lot you need to know. Starting with rule number 1, don't mess with the IRS. They can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts, even take your home or business. That's all true. But it's also true that there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. It's one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, even tens of thousands. Nobody knows this program like us, the experts at Optima Tax Relief. We have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, and we've resolved over $500 million in tax debt for our clients. We'll stand between you and the IRS and fight to get you the best deal possible. Don't mess with the IRS. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima for a free consultation.
Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to HelixSleep.com and get up to $200 off during their New Year sale.
If you need to sell your house,
talk to Aaron Taylor.
You want to sell it fast and get the most cash, talk to Aaron Taylor.
The real estate guy.
Aaron Taylor here, your #1 real estate guy. 2019 was an incredible year, and 2020 will be even better. We have designed a 3-step program to get our sellers the most money possible. Number 1, sellers that want a cash offer, we will provide you several offers from all iBuyer companies: Zillow, OfferPad, Opendoor, and all local investors. Number 2, we will pay and do all repairs with our crew and list your property to get you the highest price. Number 3, for our traditional sellers, we will provide our 25 years of experience along with our exceptional marketing campaign, all to get you the most money possible. And to top it all off, we give a cash advance within 24 hours if needed for all sellers. Call 702-310-6683. That's 702-310-MOVE. eXp Realty, call for details.
Talk to Aaron Taylor,
the real estate guy.
If your retirement plan is on set it and forget it, it's time to take control. Tune in for Financial Safari with America's Wealth Coach and best-selling author, Coach Pete D'Arruda. For more than 25 years, Coach Pete has been helping people just like you plan for retirement. Join Coach Pete every week as he discusses topics like why your retirement plan should also be an income plan, and how to make sure you're getting the most out of your 401k.
Financial Safari with Coach Pete, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday afternoon at 2 on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON. Listen to the Texas Corners Bible Church every Saturday night at 11 p.m. and Sunday night at 10 p.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro rolling out our number 2, gun control, an issue that Donald Trump brought up last night. He said the Second Amendment is under siege. Do you remember these Kentucky gun rallies? 100-plus people gathered at the state capitol for the last of 3 gun rights rallies in January. This one was organized by the group We Are Kentucky Gun Owners. Many made their way into the Capitol, where they complied with security as they were directed to step around metal detectors while carrying their rifles and handguns. Some of them posed for photos wearing dark ski masks as they displayed their rifles across their chest near the Abraham Lincoln statue. One of those men who did that is joining us on the line right now. His name is Tony Wheatley, and he is from We Are Kentucky Gun Owners. Tony, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, Tony. A lot of questions to get to. So let me start with this. Why did you decide to wear these ski masks and wear the camouflage and bring your AR-15s into the state capitol? Why did you decide to do that?
Well, that's a little bit of misinformation there. I was the one that actually put the rally together. We had 25 outside security guards who were keeping masks off everybody outside. The gentlemen that went into the Capitol itself were from Virginia, and they weren't wearing masks outside, but for some reason they took a photo opportunity. I think it was provoked by one of the local newspapers to do that, and because outside you didn't see the issues at all.
Okay, so if I misspoke there, you didn't do it, and by the way, I'm glad to hear that. So I would imagine you don't support somebody walking into the state capitol wearing getup like that. Can I assume that?
I support the right to do so, but I don't support it as doing it. I think it leaves a bad image. One of the things that I've noticed, if you come to a rally, you're automatically labeled a militia, and that is far from the truth. Our guys are they go to work 8 to 5 or 7 to whenever, and they come home. They've got families, and they're not out here, trying to cause trouble. These guys came from Virginia to support Kentucky because of Virginia's issues. We sent people over there, and they were very helpful, other than the fact that they decided to be posers, okay? And I don't mean that in a bad way. They just posed for pictures. They were young guys, and I think had they were probably egged on to do so. But as far as getting into the Capitol, now that the Capitol Police took care of most of that issues. Once they were in the building, we had no jurisdiction to do anything, and what they let them do in there was, well, just like you've seen, was they walked around in metal detectors. I too have walked around in metal detectors. I'd never carry a long gun into the Capitol.
Right. Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. Let's talk about some gun issues. As you know, many of these mass shootings are on people's minds, including many at the event. On the mind was, of course, Virginia. And there have been, sadly, there have been mass shootings all across the country. We had 58 people, as you know, Tony, who died on October 1 in Las Vegas. Let's talk about red flag laws. Let's start there. You've been very outspoken against red flag laws, correct?
I am, yes.
Okay, so let me give you a scenario, and you can tell me what you think about this, Tony. So let's just say there's a married couple, and the husband texts his wife and leaves troubling voicemails on her phone, says he's going to kill her that night. She calls the police. He goes to jail, and then he's released. Are you comfortable that night, that gentleman purchasing a firearm, purchasing a weapon legally?
I think that if there is a reliable threat, like you're saying there,
right?
I don't think you should be able to.
So that's a red flag law then.
Yeah. Well, technically, yes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. We have an EPO in Kentucky. An EPO is basically the same thing as a red flag law, but it's not as easy to get. In other words, you got to have, if an EPO goes to the judge says, signs off on it, then they should take his gun.
But the problem with that is it doesn't happen. I hear what you're saying, Tony, but the problem with a judge signing off on it, if that happens on a Saturday, a judge isn't going to get it till the earliest on Monday. You know that this is I think you agree with me. It's a case-by-case issue, right? In this specific situation.
I understand, but let's go back to the judge. The judge can sign a warrant at any time. Okay, so why couldn't you do an EPO at any time? But here's the problem I've got with that is what judge, if you put something in front of him, is going to say, well, I don't think this is a legitimate threat, and then the guy goes out and kills his wife.
Well, I don't think any logical – I hear you. I don't think any logical judge or logical human being, for that matter, should be okay with a spouse being able to purchase a firearm as soon as he or she gets out of jail after threatening the life of their wife or husband. I don't think any logical human being – and let me tell you something. If a judge did say it was okay, then he should be found liable.
I agree.
Okay, so we agree on that.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we agree on that. I think it is. There is a limit there to what you can do. I mean, we all have safety nets and everything
Right.
we do, and so that threat's there. Even though he got out of jail, the threat is still hanging over. He may be in there for one night.
Of course.
But there's still consequences, and he shouldn't be able to buy a gun the next day.
Why is it, and Tony, we agree, you sound like a reasonable guy. Why is it then that there are so many on the right that would disagree with you and me and would say, listen, don't you take away my Second Amendment rights? My personal opinion, Tony, is the majority of Democrats that are in office right now, they don't want to take all your guns away. And you might disagree with me on that, but I haven't heard one prominent Democrat say, I'm taking all your guns away. I think people should have a right to protect themselves. This is where we agree, so long as they haven't committed a felony and they're not a detriment to society. Why is it that we hear from the alt-right all the time, oh, they want to take our Second Amendment rights away?
Well, here in Kentucky, anytime you write a law or a bill that says we have a right to regulate whatever you're doing with your Second Amendment, that's a violation of the Constitution. So the whole picture is, if you're violating the Constitution, you shouldn't even be able to write a bill introducing that. And I think that is the biggest issue we have here. Virginia example, they went through this a lot more than we have, and they're still fighting it. The difference is we don't want bills written that are going to say we can do that. And some of them are close, okay? They don't necessarily say that exactly, but they'll say we can dictate what an assault rifle is. And you ask somebody what an assault rifle is, they can't tell you.
Well, let me tell you, the guns that were used on October 1, the gun that was used in Texas, El Paso, those exact type weapons, in my personal opinion, should not be used in society. Would you disagree with that?
I'm not really specific on what they use in Las Vegas.
Well, a guy up on the 30th something floor was able to execute 58 people using his weaponry. And I don't think those types of weapons, I think those weapons should only be used by law enforcement and in war by our soldiers. Because in my personal opinion, those guns were not made for hunting. Those guns were made to execute as many people as possible.
I disagree with you to some extent. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but these guns were not automatics, okay? That's the biggest issue is semi-automatic versus automatic. The thing is, he could do the same thing with a lever-action rifle if he's a good shot, okay? So to say that, because it doesn't take long to reload a rifle. And I understand you're talking about magazines and flipping them in and out, but it's the same principle. I can load up a rifle just as fast as I can switching magazines unless I come dressed for bearer. And I assume this guy did, but for the most part, these guys, we have to look at the mental issues of these things. Just like a red flag law.
Right.
It does nothing to help the mental issue of the person. You know, if our threat's made or you know, if you don't look at the big picture of what's causing him to do that, you're just taking his guns away and hoping he doesn't run to a playground full of kids with a scar.
Mm-hmm.
Same difference. You know, you're putting him out there and letting him be free, and he's also still a danger to himself or somebody else.
Do you hunt with your AR-15?
I could. My son does. I don't hunt. I'm not a hunter.
Okay, when your
I like to go out and shoot.
When your son shoots something with an AR-15, can he even eat it after, or is it totally mangled and riddled with bullets?
No, he can eat it. A 223 from an AR-15 is not that much bigger than a 22 rifle shell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing is, it penetrates. It does get, if you shoot it right. I mean, I've seen deer get up and walk away from 223s. I've seen them get up and walk away from bigger calibers.
All right, fair enough.
It all comes down to the calibers 223 wasn't meant to kill people. It was built to take people off the battlefield.
Of
if I
course.
have to pick somebody else and take him off the field.
Exactly.
Then, you know, I'm eliminating men.
Well, I agree, and that's my point when it comes to some of this weaponry. They were designed to mass execution. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Tony Wheatley. He is the organizer of this event, this gun rights rally that has taken place on our state capitol. He is also with the We Are Kentucky Gun Owners. So let me ask you this question then, Tony, and I do think that it is an important one. You've held these gun rights rallies. I say, what about the rights of these people who have lost loved ones in these mass shootings? So my question to you is, what's your solution to it then? These mass shootings weren't happening at the rate they're happening now. We didn't have these school shootings when I was in high school. So I understand that you're a Second Amendment guy, and I would never want to take that right away from you to defend yourself. We might disagree on a few things, but what is your solution to ending the carnage and ending these mass shootings?
As far as what one person can come up with, it's almost impossible to do. I think that legislators and people in general need to get together and come up with a solution as a team, not just say, hey, we're going to dictate you, this is mandated to do this. We need to sit down, look at the mental health side of it. I really think that a lot of the drugs these kids have been taking over the years, ADHD, medicine, et cetera, that's all led to some of this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not totally, but, you know, it's responsibility of gun owners. So, you know, the kid in Sandy Hook, he got access to his mom's safe. Well, that should never happen.
Correct. I agree.
We have responsibility as gun owners, and I put some of this back on them and me. If I laid my guns out on the couch and left them, then my kid went across the street and shot the neighbor. I should be held liable.
I agree.
You know, I should be held liable for that.
Yeah.
My job is to keep my guns put up.
Mm-hmm.
My kids don't know the combinations of my guns, and perfectly honest, I don't have a lot of guns.
Right.
I know what I need, and that's it. I'm not a gun collector.
Well, listen,
but I do like to shoot.
That I don't, and I'm happy to hear that. I don't think you need a bazooka to protect yourself. And you sound like I said, you sound like a reasonable guy. I don't think you need an AR-15 to protect yourself in your home. I certainly don't. Let me ask you a little bit about this, because I don't know if you had a chance to listen to the president's speech last night. But in that speech, he did mention the Second Amendment. He said the Second Amendment was under siege. And then a man by the name of Fred Gutenberg. I don't know if you've heard of this gentleman. He's been on our show before. He lost his daughter in the Parkland school shooting. And, you've got Donald Trump, the president of the United States, who's talking about the Second Amendment, but he mentions nothing about, putting some laws into place that could save lives. I'm going to tell you, Tony, I have a problem with that, and I feel for people like Fred Guttenberg, who's trying to do the right thing, who's trying to save lives in the long run. And we heard nothing from the president yesterday.
Do you think that Fred Guttenberg's response was warranted?
Well, that's a different conversation,
Okay.
but I'm asking him specifically. I'm not asking Tony about that. I'm asking Tony about what would you say to a guy like Fred Guttenberg, and do you understand his frustration when all the president of the United States yesterday is talking about the Second Amendment under siege and not talking about moving forward how to save lives?
Well, I understand that. And I think that I certainly feel for the Guttenbergs and those that have lost, loved ones. It's not an easy thing, even as a Kentucky gun owner or any gun owner, to see that we've lost lives here in Kentucky. Heath High School and Marshall County High School a couple of years ago. We understand that there's tragedy that's going to happen. We've got to be able to fix the problems. If I wanted to, or anyone wanted to do harm, they could do so without an AR-15. There's shotguns out there. There's cars out there.
Okay, but Tony, I know you're a smart guy and you're a reasonable guy. I've heard this argument before. If your children, God forbid, are in a school, would you rather a madman walk in there with an AR-15 or a car or a shotgun? Which one?
That's a good question.
I don't think I think it's an easy question to answer.
I would much rather see. I don't believe that AR-15s belong in schools, but no, we need to be doing something to keep them out of the schools.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Tony. But my problem with your argument, I think this is where we disagree, is, well, if you're a bad guy, you can plow into a crowd with a car. You can kill people with a knife.
Sure.
Let's be reasonable here. If you're looking to kill as many people as possible, an AR-15 is a lot more effective than a knife or a car.
Well, I agree with that.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, you can't deny that.
Right.
But once again, it goes back to, why does that person have a gun? A lot of people, we don't look at it. I'm not saying I just think we shouldn't be taking the guns away from law-abiding citizens. We need to figure out how to deal with the mental issues that are taking place in this country. And it's coming from kids. These kids are starting off early with different types of drugs that they're being given. I think it has a lot to do with it. Now, I'm not an expert, and I won't pretend to be, but I know I deal with kids and I see their mood swings. I see what happens to them when they're taking certain drugs, and we have to watch for that. And even in normal households, you have to watch for personality changes. I can see how somebody could go off the deep end if nobody's watching what's going on, and that could cause them to do whatever. But if they have access to those guns, then that's an issue that needs to be taken up somewhere. How do we stop them from getting those guns? You can't take them away from everybody, because if you did, the old cliche, only the bad guys have guns. But we've got to stop and find out the mental issues of why these things are taking place, and we can blame it on anything we want. I mean, you can still make your own explosives. Show you how to do it on the internet.
Considering the fact that the Second Amendment was put into effect in 1789, and the most violent weapon at the time was the musket, which took about a minute and a half to fill up and shoot. And now that technology has totally changed, and now you have weapons like an AR-15 or a fully automatic weapon that has a 100 rounds, and you can shoot 150 or 200 rounds in, we'll say, 30 to 40 seconds, and possibly kill 70 or 80 people, in that time frame. Do you think that, taking technology into consideration, that maybe the Second Amendment should be revisited?
No, I don't. I think the Second Amendment was written for the farmers in that age, and then farmers in this age, and the farmers in the next age. They are meant for it's meant to protect. We deal with different things we didn't deal with back then. All right, Indians didn't have, God forbid, I'm not trying to say this, but they didn't have AR-15s. Neither would he. Now, see, nowadays you come up with bad guys have AR-15s, or armies, for example. If we wiped off all our weapons, our firearms like AR-15s, what would keep anybody from coming in here and saying, hey, you're not weaponized. Years ago, it keeps us safe. But we can't walk out of our backyard anymore. We don't live in utopia. That's the problem.
So you think that civilians should have access to military-grade weapons?
Not military grade. I don't consider an AR-15 military grade because there are differences. And do we need bazookas? No. I would never say. I can't say that constitutionally it rules it out, but I will say this: I think it's irresponsible for people to have those if they
All right.
really wanted.
Well,
wanted them.
Listen, Tony. There are things that we agree on, and there are going to be some things that we disagree on, and that's fine. But that's fine. You seem like a reasonable guy. But I have to ask you this question. You do understand, going back to this rally that you organized, and I know you weren't the person, you were not the specific person that walked in with the camo and stormed into the Capitol wearing that getup. But you do understand that this is a very sensitive time that we live in. And when we see a person or persons doing that, it's a bad look for your organization, in my personal opinion. So are you willing to, on the air right now, apologize for any people that might have been scared or felt threatened because of those individuals?
Certainly do that. I certainly would apologize for that.
Okay.
We had no part on it, and we basically chastised the people that did it. We would not release their names, but because I had people that were in Kentucky that were very upset, and it didn't look good for us. We are not those kind of people. We're just ordinary people that go to work every day. These guys, we took them off the side once we found out they did this. We told them, if you don't ever come to another rally if this is the case, because we're not going to have that. And I'm really surprised that the Capitol Police let them do that. But it's not something we presented. Matter of fact, our stance was no long guns.
Right.
And no mask.
Right.
But unfortunately, the Second Amendment doesn't rule. I can't say you can't do it because of the Second Amendment.
Well, listen,
the Capitol allowed it.
The way I would compare this to, Tony, and by the way, I'm glad to hear you say that, would be if there was an officer-involved shooting and an officer commits a crime, yes, the sheriff is going to apologize, but it doesn't represent the entire police department. That's what I see this issue. You had one or two bad characters that did some bad things, but I'm happy to hear you take the responsibility and apologize for that because, as you know, there are very sensitive times that we are living in today. And I do believe, there are some people that were scared by that, but I'm happy to hear you say that, Tony. And I do appreciate you coming on our show and giving your stance on the issue. I think this was a good conversation, and I think all of us in this country, Republicans and Democrats, need to have more discussions like this and come up with some answers. I do appreciate you taking some time to join us. Thank you so much, Tony.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Thanks a lot, Tony.
All right, that's Tony Wheatley from the We Are Kentucky Gun Owners Association, and he organized this rally on the Capitol where he had a couple bad characters that walked into the state Capitol. We don't agree on everything, but I would rather have a conversation with a guy like Tony who seems to be somewhat reasonable. I just don't like the debate or the argument, well, anyone could use a car and kill people. I stopped that pretty quickly, and he agreed with me. That's not a good defense. Me and JD, for the most part, we agree on these gun control issues. But that's a guy at least I could have a conversation with. So when we come back, JD.
Yeah, he seemed fairly reasonable considering the fact that the position that he's in and the fact that he's in Kentucky.
And he took responsibility for a couple bad characters, which I do appreciate. Well, I want to continue this conversation a little bit on the other side. You can give us a call. Phone lines are open at 702-257-5396. Again, that number, if you want to be a part of this conversation, the gun control issue, what took place with these gun rallies, your thoughts on someone wearing a mask and all the get-up walking into the state capitol. I certainly wouldn't want that to happen anywhere, especially here. That number, 702-257-5396. Also on the other side of the break, a principal at a high school saying Kobe Bryant deserved to die. You're not going to believe it. It's just utterly disgusting. We'll take that, and your phone call is coming up next, 702-257-5396. We will take a quick break, and we will be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
And now, a page from the diary of Flo.
Dear Diary, the ghost is back. This house is protected through Progressive, but that doesn't mean it's not haunted. How else would you explain that radiator-like clanking sound? Or the moon-colored light in the hallway that's gone by morning? Maybe he never bundled home and auto, and he's doomed to suffer an eternity without the savings.
Save an average of 17% on car insurance when you bundle home and auto through Progressive.
What was that wind-like sound? Oh, right, the wind.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Less than 3 hours before the Senate is scheduled to vote on the 2 articles of impeachment against the president, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy expecting acquittal.
Today, the president will be acquitted for life. I hope the Democrats will finally end their desire to impeach this president.
Making his red state re-election more difficult, Alabama Democrat Doug Jones today announced he will vote to convict the president.
The gravity of this moment, the seriousness of the charges, and the implication for future presidencies and Congresses all contributed to the difficulty with which I've arrived at my decision.
Tens of thousands are braving a very cold day in Kansas City to attend the victory parade for the Super Bowl winning Kansas City Chiefs. Earlier, police arrested a man and woman who led them on a parade route chase after they broke through one of the barricades along the parade route. On Wall Street, stocks are advancing. The Dow is up about 350 points at this hour. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio. This report sponsored by Indeed.com. No delays to report on I-15 north and southbound, looking good between the Spaghetti Bowl and the Southern Beltway. An accident reported on the 215 Southern Beltway westbound west of I-15. That's been cleared, and traffic has returned to normal. There's a crash reported Jones south of Vegas Drive and an accident on Elkhorn west of Wallapai Way at Egan Crest Drive. You're in charge of hiring. Let Indeed's customized screening tools help fine-tune your shortlist so you can get moving to your other to-do list. Post your next job at Indeed.com/hire. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
You don't always know you're making history when you're living it. But if you're a business owner, you can help shape Southern Nevada's water future by conserving today. Replacing useless grass with water-smart landscaping and investing in water-saving technology has never been easier. Big rebates are available at snwa.com. Do your part to conserve. Be a founder of our future. SNWA is a not-for-profit water agency.
Calling all casino industry workers. Are you talented and hardworking? Tuscany Suites and Casino wants you to join them for their pool hiring and property-wide job fair. Thursday, February 6th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They will be interviewing and hiring right on the spot. Entry-level and friendly faces are strongly encouraged to attend. For more info, visit TuscanyLV.com. Tuscany Suites and Casino, located just 2 blocks east from the Strip at 255 East Flamingo, where parking is always free.
Diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, a million questions flood your mind.
How can this be happening?
Am I going to be able to work? What's a subtype?
What do I do now?
We know. We went through it too.
But once you start to understand your options,
you can partner with your doctor and find ways to face MBC on your own terms.
Visit findyourmbcvoice.com and learn how to speak up and have a more informed conversation with your doctor.
Some questions have answers. Visit findyourmbcvoice.com to find some of yours.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Wednesday, hump day, baby. Coming up here in hour number 3, we're going to have the organization Veterans in Politics come in studio. Steve Sanson and Robert Madoff. We're going to talk about the fact that there are people not standing up during the national anthem, like Jay-Z and Beyonce, before the Super Bowl. I find it to be disgusting. So we're going to get their thoughts on this. And what does that mean to veterans when you got these people, these powerful people that are not standing during the national anthem? Listen, I never took Colin Kaepernick's side, ever. I never took his side for a number of different reasons. We'll get into that coming up in our number 3. And then there's a controversy brewing. Remember we used to have this guy in studio. His name was Stretch Sanders, the minister, and he got all these people to show up on Fremont Street to protest this new homeless ordinance. Well, now word coming from Mayor Carolyn Goodman that they were paid protesters there. We'll get to that coming up in hour number 3. Also talk about the Iowa caucuses and Pete Buttigieg, and looks like he had a great showing in Iowa. So we will get to that coming up in hour number 3. And by the way, I want to brag for a second here. I have these amazing new shades I just bought yesterday, and they're prescription shades. You can check out how luxurious they are. I'm feeling very diva-ish today. So anyway, you can check us out on the YouTube page, the Vegas Take YouTube page. We're broadcasting live every day on there. Check out our website. I never get a chance to plug it as much as I said. It's an awesome website. In fact, I'm going to say it's even maybe better than the Rush Limbaugh website. That's right. TheVegasTake.com. Check it out. We're all over social media, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all over the place.
Everywhere.
Yes. So
and, you mentioned the Rush Limbaugh website. Our website's actually a little different. I've got about 9 writers that work for us, and you can actually click on one of the articles or one of the pictures, and you'll get the YouTube video if you want to watch that. Or in some cases, I'll have a writer write about 600 to 1,000 words summarizing what we talked about. If you don't have 30 minutes to watch the video, you can just read the article and get some of the main points from the segment.
So check it out. We're all over the place, and I promise you, unlike Rush Limbaugh, we will not say things that are racist or, we will not say things that are homophobic. We will not discriminate women based on looks. We will not call women sluts on this show. I will not even call Laura Ingraham that. So that's just a testament to what we do here on the show. I've called her a racist evil witch, but I will not use the S word to describe her.
You probably call her a racist evil witch, I would say at least 5 times a week.
Oh, because she is. Because she is. Speaking of racist...
At this point, it's hard to argue the first part of that statement.
Well, speaking of evil racist people, we've talked a lot about, and everyone has, except for maybe Laura Ingraham and Tucker Carlson and some racists out there. A lot of people are touching upon Kobe Bryant, even though I do find it very interesting still that Donald Trump did not say anything publicly, only on social media the day it happened. Nothing in his speech yesterday about Kobe Bryant and the loss of 8 others in that horrific helicopter crash. Well, we've mentioned it a few times on this show. People in the school system, some teachers have spoken out, calling Kobe Bryant a rapist, which, by the way, is factually inaccurate. People have said some horrific things. I don't think anything beats this local school principal. I shouldn't say local, thank God. Camas High School in Camas, Washington. Never been there before. Her name is Liza Sikora. It's in Washington, and she's embroiled in a big controversy on Facebook. She put up a Facebook post in regards to Kobe Bryant's death. Here's what she said. You're absolutely not going to believe it. It's just awful. Quote, and again, this is a principal at a high school. Quote, not going to lie, seems to me that karma caught up with a rapist today. I don't even know where to begin here, but I will try. Maybe Donald Trump will give this principal an award of freedom. Maybe next year. I don't know. This woman is utterly disgusting. Okay, utterly disgusting. And I don't even know how to respond to this. And I'm almost at a loss for words. But this woman is now apologizing. And she publicly apologized, I believe, because she was probably forced to. I want to take a quick break, and then we'll take your calls on this. What do you think about this? What do you think should happen to this woman? 702. I actually forgot the number. What's the number? 702-257-5396. I'm clumped. 257-5396.
Are you joking?
Yeah, we're going to take a quick
break.
break.
You actually forgot the number?
Take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take.
Here is some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. It's the affordable alternative to health insurance, and it's worked beautifully for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry, and over the years, members have shared over $3 billion of each other's medical bills. So they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with MediShare. The typical savings for a family is about $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. You're not stuck with a high-cost health plan. You can join MediShare anytime, so call them today and check it out. Here's the number to find out more, and there's no pressure. They are super easy to talk to. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Maybe it's time to take a fresh look at everything we thought we knew about landing a great job. For instance, what if phenomenal careers start at the middle school science fair instead of at the job fair? If being the captain of the robotics team means just as much on a college application as being captain of the football team. And if knowing the quadratic formula is every bit as important as knowing the right people. Well, the fact is, the jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. More opportunities, better pay. And the road to these great jobs starts as early as middle school. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Because the job you'll get in the future may very well depend on what you do today. A public service message from America's Navy.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Remember that band back in the day, JD? They're called Cracker. Cracker. Would it be racist if I said that would be a way to describe Donald Trump's administration? Would that be racist? Be honest, yes or no?
Yes.
Is that a race? I would never.
I would say so.
I would never say that. You know, it was just a question. I'm just posing it. Would it be racist
I
if
think
I said
that would be racist.
Yeah,
I would consider that racist.
You understand? I'm posing the question.
Right.
I'm not. I would never say
it's
listen,
a hypothetical.
It's a hypothetical. I would never say that Trump's administration were a bunch of crackers. That would be completely inappropriate. I would never make a statement like that.
It's okay that you do it hypothetically instead of just overtly, whereas Rush Limbaugh would do it overtly.
Exactly.
So since you do it hypothetically, then it's okay if you do it.
There's a fine line there, my friend.
I love irony and I love hypocrisy even more. And you know what I love even more than both of those is double standards.
Well, how many
and when I can get all three of them in about 15 seconds, like you just did, that makes me so happy inside.
So let me ask you a question, since we're talking about Kobe Bryant and we're going to take your phone calls here in a minute. Are you comfortable with somebody like Laura Ingraham? Thoughts and prayers and going crazy over Rush Limbaugh announcing that he has cancer, but yet doesn't even mention Kobe Bryant once. Not once on her show. Are you okay with that? Because there are a lot of people on the right that are feeling like they just lost a loved one, but yet they're not talking about Kobe Bryant. And then we have this principal, this high school principal in Washington, who says, quote, "Not going to lie, seems to me that karma caught up with a rapist today. This woman is disgusting. Her name is Liza Sakura. I hope they fire her dumbass, her racist dumbass. Number one, Kobe Bryant is not a rapist. And number two, karma? What are you talking about? Did you forget, you dummy, that there were also, forget about Kobe, there were 8 other people in that helicopter, including his 13-year-old daughter, you dumb B-word. Can I even say that on the air? What a horrific human being this woman is, and I hope she's fired. I hope she's fired. I hope she loses her job. A public apology is not good enough.
Yeah, you can't call it karmic when there were 9 total people that lost their lives. It wasn't just Kobe Bryant. And even if it was just Kobe Bryant, he was never convicted of being a rapist.
The charges were dropped.
Exactly. There was obviously a settlement that did take place. And the circumstances, I mean, it's real. I mean, it's factual. But assuming that is why he and his daughter and all those people died in that helicopter crash, to me, I have no problem with her being fired under those circumstances.
This isn't some troll on social media. This is a principal
Right.
of a high school who said, not going to lie, seems to me that karma caught up with a rapist today. This woman should be fired, should not be allowed to work in the school system for at least a year, put her on a probation or something. What an awful human being. What are your thoughts on that? If a principal of a school or a teacher calls Kobe Bryant a rapist and says he got karma, he got what he deserved, should that person even have a job in the school system? I say no. And what are your thoughts on some of these right-wing talk show hosts that don't even mention Kobe Bryant, but they'll do hours talking about Rush Limbaugh announcing he has cancer? What do you think about that? There's one word that I'll describe that: racist. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Malik. Malik, you're first up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Malik?
Yeah, fellas. Hey, everything's good, man. I just definitely agree with you that this teacher is the most insensitive B word that I just can't imagine her being a principal and saying anything like that. Any human being to say something like that about Kobe and these other 8 people, she needs to never be teaching, working in the public, period.
I agree.
Stay home.
Well, especially her being a principal, not a substitute teacher. The principal,
Exactly.
that's a very, very esteemed position. It takes a long time. It's a well-paying job. There's certainly a standard that needs to be held up to under those circumstances.
I don't understand it. Let me ask you this, Malik, because it's not just this woman. There are others that we played, sadly, in the past week and a half that have done the same thing. What do you think of the President of the United States giving Rush Limbaugh the Medal of Freedom, doesn't even mention the Kobe Bryant crash? What do you think about that?
Okay, he is basically, I call him the clown in chief, because you got a 100-year-old Tuskegee Airman veteran sitting in the same row as this Rush is. I don't have any. I got words I don't want to say. But you give this guy a Medal of Freedom for a guy who, for 8 years, said Barack Obama was not even born here. He called the female from this one college said he called her a slut.
Yes, he did. Yep.
He's feminazis. He's this and that. He's got all these work, and then you're going to give him the medal. And on Rosa Parks' birthday, he gives him the medal.
It's disgusting.
He equated her with Rosa Parks.
You know what? I'll be honest with you, Malik. And by the way, I appreciate the phone call. Donald Trump probably didn't even know who Rosa Parks is. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Don. Don, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, Don.
Hey guys. Hey, for one, I want to let you guys know it's kind of cool. We get to call in and give our opinions, and I want to let you know I appreciate that. I wanted to.
You bet.
As far as the principal, as far as her being fired, I think she's going to get big time blowback. I don't like my job being taken if I made a mistake. Obviously, this is a huge mistake. Laura Ingraham, she may not like Kobe, and that's her prerogative. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
No, the problem with Laura Ingraham is that she called out Nipsey Hussle. She called out LeBron James, shut up and dribble. But then when something happens to Kobe, she doesn't talk about it on the other side. It just proves that she definitely has favoritism to one race.
So, Don, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Don. Let me be very clear. If you listen to this show, you know how much I hate Donald Trump. I despise the man. But let me tell you something. If Donald Trump, or let's say Mitch McConnell, or even Rush Limbaugh, for that matter. I can't stand Rush Limbaugh. But if he passed away today or tomorrow, not only would I mention it, I would say thoughts and prayers to his family. I would say thoughts and prayers, at least mention it and give thoughts and prayers. Laura Ingraham didn't even do that because she's an evil, racist witch, in my opinion.
Well, and I got you, but the thing is, I believe I'm a big Kobe fan, Laker fan. Thing is if he would have bounced on Kobe, he would have got ripped for it because it's not his passion. You know what I mean? Like Rush Limbaugh, to be honest with you, I listen to you guys because a lot of times Rush isn't on. And I appreciate what you guys do in your take, JD. I appreciate you sticking up for, if you want to call it the right. I mean, basically there's a lot of different opinions. Rush Limbaugh, a lot of times, hey, he says, man, this is satire. And when he makes fun of somebody, I appreciate what you were saying earlier when you opened up. But if we listen to Saturday Night Live, man, when we watch that, we're expecting people to be made fun of. And I understand timing is
Don,
everything.
I think it's Don. Listen, I think it's okay to make fun of somebody on certain circumstances, but when you go, but hold on, when you go after Michael J. Fox because he has a disease,
It was inappropriate.
right? If you go after the NBA and the NFL and say it's like the Bloods and the Crips, when you say racist things, like let me give you an example, right? Well, if you go after, an actor or an actress, you make fun of their voice because they have an annoying voice, or something that's a little petty like that. There's levels you don't cross. You don't go after someone because they have a disease, and you don't go after someone because of the color of their skin.
Or it would be like us going after Pete Buttigieg because he's a homosexual.
Right. The same thing. Right.
Well, wait, throw something in because I know you guys got to get to other callers. Like when you opened up today, when we were talking about the guns, we micromanage. When you say the gun owners are allowing or making it so people can go out and mass shoot people, I understand your point, but other people who just tune in, they may not understand that.
Well, and let me just repeat, Don, what I was trying to say. Donald Trump, and by the way, I appreciate the call, Dan. Thank you. You're always welcome to call back. The point I was trying to make was Donald Trump last night in his speech said if in sanctuary cities, if an illegal immigrant kills somebody, you should be allowed to sue the city. And I said, if you're going to go by that precedence, then, the gun manufacturers that sold Paddock the gun that killed 59 people on October 1, I guess those victims should be able to sue the gun manufacturers. It's the exact same thing. The gun manufacturers didn't break the law. Those who make the laws in those sanctuary cities they didn't break the law either. So there has to be a standard met on both categories, not what just suits the right. That's what I said, and I think you agree and you understand where I'm coming from. We're talking about these horrible comments that this principal made about Kobe Bryant in Washington. She says, not going to lie, seems to me that karma caught up with a rapist today. Well, she made a public apology. Guess what? That's not good enough. She should be fired. Your thoughts on that? 702-257-5396. Let's go to Carrie. Carrie has been waiting patiently on hold. You're next up on the Vegas Take. What's up, Carrie?
Hey, what's up, Carrie?
Hello. I'm glad I got a chance to talk to you. I don't know Kobe Bryant. I knew he was a basketball player.
We can't hear you very well.
Can you, if you're on Bluetooth, can you go off of Bluetooth so we can hear you better?
There we go.
Okay, hold on.
Thank you. I'm hearing a little bit of an echo too. So
A wild echo and a lot of wind.
Carrie, are you there?
Yeah, does that help at all?
That's a little better.
A little bit, yeah.
Go ahead, Carrie.
My son knows who Kobe Bryant was. However, I just knew he was a basketball player. After I learned of his death, I started listening to a lot of different people talk about all the amazing things that he had done. I saw pictures of him and his daughter and how much love he had for his family. I also heard that when this happened with this young woman who accused him of rape, Kobe said, well, I thought it was consensual, and that young woman said it was consensual until she said stop. And he said he was really sorry that he misunderstood what she was saying. He took ownership of his actions.
Right.
And
Right.
so I look up to a person who will actually do that, because we've all been in those moments,
No, listen, Carrie, you're right. And by the way, I appreciate the phone call. You're right. Listen, the bottom line here is this. And she said it. Carrie made a very, very good point there, and she's absolutely right. Kobe Bryant did not commit rape, but immediately he admitted that he had cheated on his wife, and I believe him to be very forthcoming and honest. And Kobe Bryant, factually, you can think whatever you want if you're an ignoramus. If you're a dummy and you want to call Kobe Bryant a rapist, you're an idiot. You're a moron. But the bottom line here is that Kobe Bryant is not a rapist. And besides the fact of what took place 17 years ago, You look at all the good things that Kobe Bryant has done in his life, and I'm not talking about why Donald Trump gave Rush Limbaugh the Medal of Freedom because he donated some money to charity. I'm talking about more than that. Look at all the lives that Kobe Bryant touched. And I know personal stories of him reaching out to others and helping and teaching, the philosopher that was Kobe Bryant. They will never be put in the same sentence. Never. And I'm not even talking about Kobe Bryant, the basketball player. I'm talking about Kobe Bryant, the person. Okay? You really want to get to all those things that Rush Limbaugh said over the course of his career, the racist, misogynistic, homophobic things that he said and has said on a regular basis? You want to give this guy an award? Are you kidding me? And the fact that Donald Trump couldn't even mention Kobe Bryant last night is disgusting.
And it's not disgusting, Brian.
It's
not
completely disgusting.
Why would he mention Kobe Bryant at his State of the Union? He made a tweet about it. He addressed it.
So you think that's enough
on social media? I think that's certainly enough.
So you're
Brian,
comfortable with
because
that?
if he did mention Kobe Bryant, then you could make the argument that he was just trying to be involved with, get himself associated with what's relevant and what's popular.
No,
right now.
it would have been the right thing to do. George W. Bush would have done it. Barack Obama certainly would have done it.
I could see the left saying that it was very, very shameless for
Well,
Donald.
I don't care. Guess what? I don't care what the left
Trump
says.
To start talking about Kobe Bryant.
I don't care what the left
because
says.
Donald Trump and Kobe Bryant, they didn't have a personal relationship.
I understand.
Donald Trump and Rush Limbaugh do have a personal relationship.
listen.
Donald Trump knew Rush Limbaugh very, very well. He golfed with him consistently in West Palm Beach, where Rush Limbaugh lived.
Don't care
still
about how
lives,
many
and
times
does
they
the
play
show.
golf.
I'm just saying.
That's not the reason to give somebody an award.
Mentioning Kobe Bryant during the State of the Union, I think is I have no problem with Donald Trump not doing that.
Okay, well,
because
I
again,
do.
He mentioned him on Twitter the day after that happened.
Okay, first of all, you're not talking to the left, you're talking to me, and I'm telling you right now, if he mentioned Kobe Bryant, I would have said that was the right thing to do. And by the way, Donald Trump doesn't write his speeches. It's the idiots in his administration that write the speeches for him.
Wait,
he just reads a teleprompter.
Now they're idiots because they didn't mention Kobe Bryant.
Yes, I think it's disgusting.
That was actually a very, very good speech last night. Donald Trump really impressed me.
Yeah, he was very impressive.
Was he not impressive?
He read a teleprompter. I'm not going to call somebody impressive.
I'm just saying
reads a teleprompter with a speech
well.
that he didn't write.
And I'm not going to call.
third grader
I'm
could
not
do
going to
that.
call his writers idiots for not mentioning Kobe Bryant.
I am 257.
Which is totally over the top ridiculous.
257.
That is borderline disgusting.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Kobe Bryant is a hero. He's touched not hundreds. Hold on, let me finish. Not hundreds, not thousands, millions of lives in this country, based on his hard work, his ethic, and how many people he reached out to help. And the fact that you are saying that you're okay with the President of the United States on a story that touched the world, not even mentioning, he didn't even have to mention Kobe Bryant's name. He should have, but he could have mentioned the 9 people that lost their lives in California in that terrible helicopter crash. For you to say it's disgusting for me to say that I expect the president to say that is ridiculous.
I'm saying that you calling his writers idiots for not adding that into his speech
I think they are.
is disgusting. I said borderline disgusting, so don't switch up my words,
borderline
Brian.
disgusting. It was disgusting that the president didn't mention Kobe's name. Let's go back to the calls. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Paul. Paul, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Paul?
Hey, Brian. The first one I want to say is this will probably, I think you'll agree with me, is the award that Rush Limbaugh was given. No entertainer should get it.
Agree.
Or should ever have gotten it outside of Bob Hope.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Everything Bob Hope did was not for money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my other thing is this foolish teacher or principal, whatever,
correct,
who had what she had to say about Kobe. I think, in my opinion, it's very irresponsible to accuse anybody of racism. You accusing her of racism is almost as bad as her accusing Kobe of being a racist. If she had called him a black rapist, then you would be 100% right. But at the same time, maybe this woman was a person.
So can I ask you a question then? Let me ask you, based on what you just said, I don't know what's in this woman's heart. I'll be the first one to admit that. Hold on. Okay, but yeah, I agree, Paul, but let me ask you a question then. Donald Trump has been accused of being a rapist. I have never called him a rapist on this show. So please explain to me why this principal never went on social media and called Donald Trump a racist, but decides to go on social media and calls Kobe Bryant a rapist. What is the reasoning for that?
There is no reasoning. What I'm saying is you're right about that, but all I'm saying is, had she called him a black rapist, then absolutely she is a racist, no doubt.
I don't think you have to say the N-word in order to be labeled a rapist or
I didn't
racist.
say N-word.
Okay, I'm just
But
saying
anyway,
in general.
The point I'm making is, maybe she was raped herself and was biased against people who have been accused of it, which doesn't make it right. But if she had mentioned race and called him a rapist, then I would say you're 100% right. But
Well,
at this point, I think you should call her a moron, an idiot, a fool.
She might not be. She
not
might.
competent to
She
hold
might
the
not
job
be.
she holds,
She
but
might.
not a racist.
Okay, Paul, I get your point. She might not be a racist. It's my opinion. It's my opinion. She might be a rapist, or racist. I'm sorry, but I'm going to tell you right now. I think Laura Ingram's a racist. I absolutely think she is.
We're not talking about Laura Ingram. We're talking about this principal whose job you're calling for.
You might be right, but whether she's a racist or not, Paul, I will say this. I believe her job should be called. I hope that makes sense. And you're absolutely right. I don't know what's in this woman's heart per se. I just think it's a fair question to say she never called Donald Trump. If you're one of those people that's calling Kobe Bryant a rapist, but you never called Donald Trump a rapist, by the way, I've never said that on the air because I don't know if it's true or not. He's never been charged or convicted of rape. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. We'll continue this conversation on the other side. 257-5396, the number to call. Get your calls when we come back. You're listening to The Vegas Take.
The only FM news talk station in the Valley. 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Senate poised to vote. I'm Mike Moss. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden is admitting his poor showing in the partially reported Iowa caucuses is nothing short of a gut punch.
24 hours later, they're still trying to figure out what happened in Iowa. At this rate, New Hampshire will be the first in the country to get the vote. I am not going to sugarcoat it. We took a gut punch in Iowa. The whole process took a gut punch. But look, this isn't the first time in my life I've been knocked down.
The latest Iowa results have Pete Buttigieg with a slight lead over Bernie Sanders. This is the day the Senate will vote on the two articles of impeachment against the president.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy says the outcome is already clear.
Today, the president will be acquitted for life. I hope the Democrats will finally end their desire to impeach this president.
That seems unlikely if you listen to House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler, who was asked about issuing a subpoena for former National Security Advisor John Bolton.
I think it's likely, yes. We'll continue on what we started a year ago, yeah.
Would the investigations just be Ukraine-focused, or are we also talking about other things like emoluments and taxes?
We're talking about everything.
Russia?
Everything.
Bolton and several others have been blocked from testifying in the impeachment inquiry and subsequent trial. Linda Kenyon, Washington.
Human Rights Watch reports at least 138 people deported to El Salvador from the U.S. in recent years were then killed. The organization says the violence underscores the risk faced by people forced to return by U.S. law. A federal judge has dismissed nearly all claims in a lawsuit seeking to force all male fraternities at Yale to admit women, saying both fraternities and sororities are specifically excluded from related federal law. On Wall Street, the Dow up 395. I'm Mike Moore.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Leonard Road Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Indeed.com. No delays to report on I-15 north and southbound, looking good between the Spaghetti Bowl and the Southern Beltway. An accident reported on the 215 Southern Beltway westbound west of I-15. That's been cleared, and traffic has returned to normal. There's a crash reported Jones south of Vegas Drive and an accident on Elkhorn west of Wallapai Way at Egan Crest Drive. You're in charge of hiring. Let Indeed's customized screening tools help fine-tune your shortlist so you can get moving to your other to-do list. Post your next job at Indeed.com/hire. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their New Year sale.
You don't always know you're making history when you're living it. But if you're a business owner, you can help shape Southern Nevada's water future by conserving today. Replacing useless grass with water-smart landscaping and investing in water-saving technology has never been easier. Big rebates are available at snwa.com. Do your part to conserve. Be a founder of our future. SNWA is a not-for-profit water agency.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
Attention. If you're in debt to the IRS and frustrated with your options, for a limited time you can call and quickly check your eligibility for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problem. Through this special toll-free hotline number, you can find out in minutes if you qualify for these powerful new debt reduction programs green-lighted by the IRS for 2019. If you have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or just want to know your options, business or personal, Republic Tax Relief's A-plus rated tax relief system has helped thousands stop IRS collections immediately and saved millions in tax debt. These relief programs will not last forever. Call the hotline number now, 800-943-1253. That's 800-943-1253. Check your eligibility for tax debt savings today. Call 800-943-1253. That's 800-943-1253.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. By the way, as we speak, Mitt Romney is speaking on the impeachment decision he made, one of the very few Republicans that wanted witnesses to be put forth. So he's talking about that right now. We'll continue to cover that and give you the latest on it tomorrow morning. Of course, we were just talking about Kobe Bryant and this principal who said, not going to lie, seems to me that karma caught up with a rapist today, calling Kobe Bryant a rapist, saying he got karma. She is the principal of Camas High School in Camas, Washington. I think she should be fired. And of course, we're taking some of your calls on that at 702-257-5396. Let's go to Daryl. He's been waiting patiently on hold. Daryl, what do you make of this?
Hey, Daryl.
How you doing? Yeah, I think it's outrageous to make those kinds of statements, and the media gives it so much weight, and it's publicized. The heiress of Disney also said, he's a rapist as well, and I think it's very unjust.
Yeah, we called her out as well. I thought that was extremely wrong and irresponsible.
Absolutely. It stirs up I think, public controversy, because some people take things like they read like that literally, and they believe it. And I think I do have a criticism, though, of your portrayal of Laura Ingraham. I don't know her or anything else, but to label her as a racist because she failed to mention Kobe.
No, it's not just that. It's not just that, Daryl. Have a listen. Just listen to me here and then form your opinion. And if you still disagree with me, that's fine. I have no problem with that. A couple weeks after Nipsey Hussle died, okay, and by the way, Nipsey Hussle did a ton of things for his community. He was a good man. She didn't even know who Nipsey Hussle was before he died. And then a few weeks after he dies, she goes on her national TV show and she attacks him based on his lyrics and just does an entire segment going after this guy. Never says thoughts and prayers for him and his family. She tells LeBron James to shut up and dribble. But yet when she has Ted Nugent on her show or Kurt Schilling on her show, she doesn't say shut up and throw a baseball. She doesn't say shut up and sing. What I'm trying to say is it seems to me that there is a consistency with her going after African Americans. And now this Kobe Bryant thing where she's very sorry about, Rush Limbaugh, and she's tweeting about Rush, not one tweet or one mention on her show about Kobe Bryant. I think, in my personal opinion, it is fair to call her a racist.
Well, I can't get into her head, but a lot of people can think what they want to think. I'd never heard of Nipsey Hussle either, but after he died, I heard about all the things he did as well.
And the only person that was going after him was Laura Ingraham.
Yeah. Well, some people try to look at the negative situations as rap is kind of a negative form of,
Well, she doesn't do that with Donald Trump. When was the last, she doesn't seem to do that with white people as much as African Americans.
Well, it's not going to serve her audience and her ratings.
Well, sadly, Daryl, I agree with you, and that's what you said. It's about ratings, and that's where we do agree, and I do appreciate the phone call. Thank you very much. So as I teased it earlier, we needed to talk about the Iowa caucus. And boy, there are some conspiracy theories going around, some of them involving Bernie Sanders, And it's crazy. What we do know is that Pete Buttigieg had a great showing, and it made the Democrats look really bad with this app that didn't work. They couldn't even get that right. I mean, they look like a bunch of schlobs. They really do. But there are some conspiracy theories going out there, and a guy who really has his more, I guess you could say he's got his foot on this more than I do, and he knows what's going on as far as the caucuses go. That would be our producer, Jason Stein, who's in studio. Jason, what can you tell us?
Good morning, Brian. Good to be here.
Do I really need to say good morning to you? Just get on with the damn
This
story.
is the time of the show where
Smart ass.
JD goes to the bathroom, and
that's right. JD is not in studio.
I come in and talk. Anyway,
Well,
yeah.
hold on a second. I just wanted to say this. We are broadcasting live on YouTube, and every
Yeah.
single time you do show up in studio, we have our guy has to adjust the cameras and lower them to your height
Right.
level. That's all I need.
You know,
to
you're
say.
like Donald Trump making fun of Michael Bloomberg's for his height. You know.
Well, now you can say that there's a candy bar and porn in my head.
No,
and
it's it was a
What
putter.
was it?
A putter, a cheeseburger. This is Michael Bloomberg's advisor.
Okay, well, let me ask you
said
this.
that in Donald Trump's head exists a putter, a cheeseburger, a porn video, and someone else's credit card.
It's a really good comeback. So, what do you think would be in my head?
In your head?
Yeah.
Candy, lemon heads, and Mike and Ike's, porn, of course, porn, and probably some kind of sports book or sports gaming app.
That's fair.
Gambling app, yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's
you didn't say Ocasio-Cortez. You should have put her in there. That's what you should have done.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, all right.
Here we go. All right.
Let's
Anyway,
move on.
we're talking about Iowa.
Let's-
we
let's-
talk about this every day. And
let's
Brian
talk about the caucus.
do we want to talk about Iowa? You know, some people are into it. Some people. I happen to find it very fascinating. Let's start with the partial results that have been released after the debacle that was Tuesday night, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting the results partially, about 70%, I believe, at last check. Buttigieg out in first. He's basically declared victory before the results even came in. Now he's declaring victory again as he's off to New Hampshire. Bernie Sanders in second, which we knew he was going to do well, about 25% for Sanders. Warren, 18%. Biden, 15.4%. And then Amy Klobuchar not far behind him. But, you know, Biden kind of the big loser in all this. Fourth place is really no place.
Are you surprised at that? Because I'm not.
I'm really not surprised at it, but again, this is the guy that's supposed to be the front runner, and you know, fourth place is pretty bad, and we'll see if he can rebound. But he even today, Biden called it a quote gut punch in Iowa. He's admitting it. Buttigieg, I think, is obviously
It was
the
a
big
gaffe.
winner, but
It was just a gaffe.
you know,
It's malarkey.
It is. It's the no malarkey. Do they still do the no malarkey bus tour? I haven't seen that bus.
I'm just waiting for him to say there's a lot of malarkey voters out there in Iowa.
Well, maybe he shouldn't be poking people in the chest and saying vote for someone else. Then maybe he'd have more than 15% of the vote.
That's true.
But anyway, if these numbers hold, I mean, obviously, I think Bernie and Pete will probably be the big winners. But you know, Pete, the thing, some people are bringing up these conspiracy theories, like you said. One of them came from Donald Trump Jr. That it's not so much a conspiracy theory as you know, maybe sour grapes. He's saying that because all these senators like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and all these guys had to go back to Washington for the quote-unquote sham impeachment trial, it let people like Buttigieg get more campaign time in Iowa, which therefore gave him inflated numbers. Had Bernie been able to spend his full time in Iowa, then Bernie would have won, and that could. So he's tying it back to impeachment, right? But then the conspiracy theories about the results and why there weren't any results the other night, that's focused around this app. And for all the evidence that we can gather, it was a crappy app. It was a crappy app. It was a technological error, and they're not going to use it in Nevada. This app, but that hasn't stopped people from the right. These are there's probably the same people that thought there was some kind of child pedophile ring being run out of a pizza parlor in Washington, D.C., run by Hillary Clinton. And remember that guy went in there with the guy. These are the same people who are coming up with these conspiracy theories.
Maybe they're the same type of people that called Kobe Bryant a rapist.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of them is Russia, of course. Some people are saying it's Russia. Russia's meddling in the.
Are people really saying
Yeah,
that?
people are saying that Russia's because of what they did in 2016, that they somehow have meddled with this app.
You think Vladimir Putin meddled with the app in the Iowa caucus? I think Vladimir Putin
to
probably
make
has.
sure. Make sure that Pete Buttigieg would
Listen,
win.
Vladimir Putin has better things to do, like planning to execute and murder people in his own country. Go ahead.
All right. Well, okay. So that the Russia thing is out there, but then another conspiracy theory that's out there is the app itself. The app is a product of a company called Shadow. In July, the campaign of Pete Buttigieg paid Shadow $43,000 for software rights and subscriptions. So now they're saying that's how Pete Buttigieg and the Democrats, Democratic establishment, are in cahoots with this Shadow app to deny Bernie Sanders the win in Iowa. And one of the people that are actually pushing this theory on the left is Representative Ilhan Omar, who, of course, supports Bernie Sanders. So that's where we're at with Iowa. Anyway, they're on to New Hampshire now, and hopefully there won't be any issues there.
Well,
but,
look, obviously there's two things that a couple things, key things that I look at here. You could tell me if you agree or not. Number one, the Democrats screwed up once again with the app. It makes them look bad. Okay, so that's clearly number one. Number two,
what taints the whole nomination process?
Yeah, that's number one. Okay, they effed up. Number two, this is bad for Joe Biden. Okay, his showing in this, he loses momentum. Who gains momentum? Well, definitely Pete Buttigieg.
Definitely.
If you told me that Amy Klobuchar would be a couple percentage points behind Joe Biden in the Iowa caucus, I would have said you were crazy.
Yeah.
And here we are. Here we are. And not to bring up Michael Avenatti again, but I will. Michael Avenatti came on our show every week, and I usually agreed with everything he said on this show. But the one thing I disagree with, he said Joe Biden has the best chance to beat Donald Trump.
Right.
I pulled back with him on that. I disagreed with him. He can't even win the Iowa caucus. He's fourth. It's not like it was neck and neck with Pete Buttigieg. And I've said since day one, when I saw Pete Buttigieg on that stage in the first debate, I said, I like this man. I am going to support Pete Buttigieg. And now here he is winning the Iowa caucuses, and I'm not alone, folks. I am not alone. Is America ready to vote in a gay president? I don't know. Sadly, there are a lot of bigots out there and a lot of dumb people out there that will not vote for somebody just because of their homosexuality.
Okay, I think that Buttigieg can absolutely get the Democratic nomination, despite being gay. That's not going to be an issue for people, except for that one woman that we played yesterday, who was shocked to find out that he actually was married to a man.
By the way, how dumb are you if you don't know he's gay? Like, well, how ill-informed are you?
For the most part, Democratic voters are not going to have an issue. I mean, you know, Barack, for me, everything I knew about politics got turned on its head when Barack Hussein Obama. Barack Hussein Obama got elected, not only got the nomination, but then won the whole damn thing. So I don't know, Brian. I don't know about the general primary. I think Buttigieg can absolutely win it, and this momentum may carry him. We'll see. We'll see. Every state's different. You know, Iowa's different than some people that have won Iowa are, you know, you'd be shocked. I mean, Rick Santorum, I think, won Iowa, or at least came in second place a few years back. I mean,
Rick Santorum.
You know, Michelle Bachmann, remember her? I think she did very well in Iowa. So it doesn't really mean that much, but it does mean a lot in terms of perception and momentum. So, but we'll see.
So Mitt Romney is going to break with the Republican Party, and this is not a surprise. This is just breaking news, but vote to convict Donald Trump on abuse of power.
Wow.
So this is kind of a big deal. We knew that Mitt Romney, we knew that he wanted witnesses, but we didn't know he was going to vote to convict.
No, we didn't. It's not going to change anything, I don't think. Trump could be acquitted as early as today. But wow, what a move by Mitt Romney. You know, CPAC, we talked about this the other day, the conservative group that puts on that show every year in Washington, D.C., CPAC, they disinvited Romney. He's not allowed to come. If you don't fall in line with President Trump and where the Republican Party is.
You sound like Donald Trump's wife. Isn't that what she tells him every night before they... I'm sorry, that was a horrible joke. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm now thinking about Melania naked from that photo shoot.
You don't have to think about it. You could just go online and look at it.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday.
But conservatives...
Anyway, that's
Billy
interesting
Graham,
about Romney.
Billy Graham won't talk about that, though.
Yeah.
The fact that the first lady's naked all over the web.
Franklin Graham.
I'm sorry, what did I say? Billy Graham?
Yeah,
Franklin Graham. I'm
that's
sorry.
the son, Franklin Graham.
Yeah, Franklin Graham. Yeah, you won't hear about that.
Franklin Graham, who was offended by the Super Bowl performance, so it was too much.
Yeah, the evangelical right, they're going to complain about J-Lo and Shapiro shaking their ass. But Donald Trump banging a porn star unprotected a couple months after Melania has a child. You won't hear them speaking out about that, though, huh? You won't hear them talking about Donald Trump's grab him by the P word. No, you won't hear about that from the evangelical rights like the Laura Ingrams of the world. Shut up and dribble. Shut up and dribble.
All right.
Shut up.
There's the political report for the day.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Good morning to you, by the way. By the way, it's lunchtime. Don't ever say good morning to me again when it's after 11 a.m. Because then I think it's like 9 a.m. and we have 3 more hours of radio to do. But anyway, when we come back, thank you, Jason, for that report. When we come back, we're going to be talking about this protest that took place on Fremont Street. We used to have this guy on our show, Minister Stretch Sanders. They protested the homeless ordinance, the new homeless ordinance where, if you're seen on the streets in certain areas downtown, you could be fined and you could go to jail for up to 6 months. Well, we're learning something very troubling about the protesters, and we're learning it from the top. Mayor Carolyn Goodman will explain what she had to say about these protesters coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
Do you know that mortgage rates have plummeted to a 3-year low and are nearing historic lows? At the same time, home values have gone up roughly 50% in the last several years. However, they seem to be peaking now. Maybe it's time to put that equity to work by paying off high-rate credit cards, personal loans, or remodel your house. Hi, I'm Wesley Hoagland with Westland Financial. Let us put you in a position to do any of these things with no closing costs. That's right, nothing's rolled into your loan, whether it's conventional, FHA, or VA, will pay your title, settlement, lender, and recording fees. Maybe you just want to lock in a lower rate or refinance out of paying mortgage insurance. All it takes is a 5-minute phone call to see how we can save you thousands of dollars a year. So call Westland at 888-455-3669. It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of mankind. Call us at 888-455-3669. 888-455-3669. That's 888-455-3669.
NMLS number 3304. Not all loans apply. Equal housing lender.
Amid Las Vegas's glitz and glamour lurks the tragedy of homeless veterans, our nation's heroes who return from war but continue to fight a battle for survival on our city's gritty streets. The basic human need of shelter shouldn't be a luxury to military heroes, which is why there is Veterans Village. Veterans Village is a nonprofit organization providing transitional housing, meals, and social services to homeless vets to give them a hand up. Veterans Village is a place of hope, but we can't do it without you. Be a hero to heroes and donate any amount you can afford at vvlv.org. That's vvlv.org. vvlv.org.
When a counselor asked how much my husband drinks, I said, not that much. I don't know why I said that. He always drank too much. But I guess I'm so used to keeping it a secret that I didn't tell the truth to myself or anyone else. My husband has drinks with friends after work. He has a couple of drinks at home with dinner and a few more while we watch TV. Pretty soon he's shouting at me and blaming me for all of his problems. I just can't take it anymore. A counselor recommended Al-Anon family groups. She said Al-Anon members have had experiences just like mine, and they would explain how Al-Anon is helping them. I didn't want to go to Al-Anon, but I'm sure glad I did. Is someone's drinking breaking your heart? You might be surprised at what you can learn at an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us. JD back in studio. He just took a dump. JD, thank you for joining us.
You know,
Appreciate
absolutely. That. I was very grateful to be able to
Thank you.
have a bowel movement.
And firing some missiles just like Kim Jong-un. I like it.
And if you watch the YouTube, you'll know we now have a stand-in for JD. It's Mike Lindell, the pillow guy.
My pillow guy.
About the same height.
Yeah.
And the same goofy expression on his face.
And about the same racist moron that Laura Ingraham is. Anyway, let's move on now to...
Did you just call me a racist?
I'm talking about Mike Lindell. I was talking about the guy that's standing the creepy pillow guy that's standing behind you. You know that.
You mean the guy that's worth about $150 million behind me? That guy?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people worth a lot of money that are racist. Just ask Rush Limbaugh. Anyway, let's move on now.
Made that money giving mustache rides.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk a little bit about this protest, Stein, that took place. Protest took place on Fremont Street. And the reason why the protest was there is because these people, at least we thought, were against this new homeless ordinance that Carolyn Goodman put into place, where you can be fined, I believe it was up to $1,000. Find me a homeless person that can afford $1,000. And Stein can't even afford $1,000. And then number two, find me somebody, who you think that deserves to go to jail for up to 6 months because they are homeless. I think it was unfair. So I agree with the sentiment that's being put forward there. However, we are now learning through Mayor Carolyn Goodman that some of these protesters may have been paid to be there. I want to play a little bit of this audio. She spoke with NBC3. This is Carolyn Goodman talking about these protesters.
Correct. That is substantiated, and some of them are paid. And if you listen to what they say as they read the script from their cell phone, same vocabulary, same words. So somebody has taken the time one way or another to get them organized and supported.
All right, gentlemen. So what do you think of that?
I mean, I didn't know that Stretch knew George Soros.
You think George Soros is behind all this? Well,
No.
Mayor Carolyn Goodman is kind of pointing the finger at a couple of groups. She's pointing the finger at the ACLU,
Right.
and she's pointing the finger at Stretch Sanders, Minister Stretch Sanders used to come on our show. And as we talked about ad nauseum, they had this big shut down Fremont Street protest on MLK Day to protest the homeless ordinance. And in the end, 12 people arrested, but it really wasn't a very big showing. But yeah, that's what she's talking about. Now, Stretch Sanders says it's not true. And another guy with a group called Water and Solidarity replied, for someone who's only motivated by money and only serves moneyed interest, it makes perfect sense for her to say something that ridiculous.
How many actually attended this?
The one on Fremont Street?
Yeah.
I think it ended up only being about 100 people.
100 people?
Yeah, at most.
And so we'll say, assuming this is true, that 40% were paid?
I mean, okay, I don't know how many.
Possibly 80%.
You shouldn't say numbers, but there may be something to this.
Well, one of the guys that is behind it.
Yes.
Stretch Sanders. The minister, Stretch Sanders, did our show probably a dozen times. He said some things on the show that not only do I disagree with, but I think are completely ridiculous. For example, we talked about race relations, and he said it's impossible for an African-American to be a racist. I think that is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. He said a lot of foolish things on this show. But you know what? We supported him in this homeless ordinance, because I don't agree with the homeless ordinance either. I said I didn't think it was the right way to go about it by doing a protest. Hold on, it is certainly not the right way to go about it by allegedly paying protesters. That makes you look really bad. And I am going to take the mayor's side on this one. I don't think she would just make this up. That would be slanderous.
And it makes you look very, very ineffective. He actually dropped the idea or the fact that he was doing the protest on our show.
Yep. Yeah, he did.
That's where he made it public.
Yep.
It was pretty much a failure. And then the other thing that was interesting about it, and as I was watching it live, was that the police gave multiple opportunities for the protesters to disperse, and many of them did. They literally just took off. In the end, 12 people are arrested. Not one of them was Stretch Sanders. Stretch Sanders was not among the people arrested. I verified that.
Do you think that he ran away?
I don't know. You know, I'd love to have him back on the show to explain what happened.
Well,
but
you know what?
It's not like he's hard
not
to miss.
interested in,
I mean,
in coming on.
He wouldn't be hard to miss. He's 6'10".
Yeah,
He's
he was there.
So
he was definitely there.
He did attend. He
was there.
He actually did attend his own
Well, here's
protest.
what we know. Here's what we know for sure.
He told us he expected to be arrested on air.
Gentlemen, here's what we know for sure.
That's true.
We know that it wasn't a huge turnout. Here's what we know. We know that somebody is lying. Either Stretch Sanders is lying or Carolyn Goodman is lying. Now, explain this to me. A small protest, which is what it was a nothing burger, a small protest. Why would Mayor Goodman lie about something like that? It doesn't make sense to me. It makes sense to me that the other side might be lying because they're embarrassed because there wasn't a showing.
It would be different, again, if it was 5,000 or 6,000 people, and Mayor Carolyn Goodman wanted to make it look like there weren't actually this many people who were protesting.
How did she get this information?
But yeah, the fact that it's just 100 people, why would she lie about that? It makes no sense.
And how did she get this information? I would imagine some of these protesters were probably questioned by police, right?
There's clearly a whistleblower involved.
Uh-oh. Don't use that term, whistleblower.
You know, it's a good question. We should have her on, and we should ask her where she gets this information. But it would not be unprecedented. You hear about this all the time, about busing people in from out of city, out of state. To boost numbers at things like this, the pain thing. Do I think Minister Stretch Sanders physically took money out of his pocket and paid these? Probably not, because he probably doesn't have any money. But
that's a cheap shot.
Well, you don't get paid a lot to be a minister. That's not.
I don't know
you're not in that for the money.
I'm not sure what the salary is.
He is affiliated with groups that may have deep pockets.
Okay, so you're saying he doesn't have two nickels he can rub together? Is that what you're trying to say? I don't know.
Where have I heard that term before?
I've heard it somewhere before also. No comment. But anyway, listen, we want to get down to the bottom of this. I believe Mayor Carolyn Goodman. I'm sure that she would come on our show to talk about it. I have a great relationship with her husband. Oscar Goodman just came on our show last week. I love Oscar. I have always loved Oscar. I love his personality. He was a fantastic mayor. And I do think Carolyn Goodman is doing a good job. But I miss Oscar in the Thrones. I will say that. He'll probably get angry at me for saying that. But I'm a big Oscar Goodman fan. I'm a big Oscar Goodman fan. I think he deserved an Oscar. Listen, if we're going to give an award to Rush Limbaugh, I think Oscar deserved an Oscar for Casino. Give him an Oscar for walking across the street with Joe Pesci. Really, I think they're about the same wavelength right there. If you're going to give Rush Limbaugh the Medal of Freedom Award, Oscar Goodman deserves an Oscar for Best Supporting Role in Casino.
Well, who deserved it more, Tiger Woods or Rush Limbaugh? Because Tiger got it last year.
I would say Tiger Woods.
And we made a big deal about that.
Obviously, I would say neither. But if I had to pick one of the two, I would say Tiger, because I certainly believe while Tiger is not a great person and he cheated on a number of different women, infidelity, I would also say that I can't recall Tiger ever saying something racist or going after women. In fact, Tiger did the opposite of that, in my personal opinion, and he's done more with his charity than Rush has done for his. Tiger's raised a lot more money and helped a lot more young kids with his charity and Tiger Jam and all that stuff than Rush Limbaugh has done in his lifetime, and you could make the argument Rush has more money than Tiger Woods. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the guys from Veterans in Politics will be joining us. Steve Sanson and Mr. Madoff will be joining us in studio next. Take a break. Be back right after this.
Utah Republican Senator Mitt Romney says he will vote to convict the president for having committed high crimes and misdemeanors in a speech delivered just minutes ago on the Senate floor.
With my vote, I will tell my children and their children that I did my duty to the best of my ability, believing that my country expected it of me. I will only be one name among many, no more, no less, to future generations of Americans who look at the record of this trial. They will note merely that I was among the senators who determined that what the president did was wrong, grievously wrong.
Romney says corrupting an election to maintain power is about as egregious an assault on the Constitution as can be made. Soon the entire Senate will vote on whether to acquit or convict the president, and it's expected the president will be acquitted of the articles of impeachment, accusing him of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Upwork. Watch for slowing for a crash reported on Nellis Boulevard north of Sahara. Also a crash on Spring Mountain at Decatur Boulevard. Meanwhile, taking a look at I-15. And traffic still moving nicely. No delay southbound between the Spaghetti Bowl and the Southern Beltway. Some light northbound slowing between Russell and Flamingo on I-15 northbound. Upwork has the largest network of independent professionals like designers, developers, data scientists, you name it when you need in-demand talent on demand. Upwork is how. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Suites and Casino wants you to join them for their pool hiring and property-wide job fair, Thursday, February 6th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They will be interviewing and hiring right on the spot. Entry-level and friendly faces are strongly encouraged to attend. For more info, visit TuscanyLV.com. Tuscany Suites and Casino, located just 2 blocks east from the Strip at 255 East Flamingo, where parking is always free.
Join Coach Harvey Hyde and Chuck Hayes Saturday evenings from 9 to 10 p.m. for Trojan Football Report, presented by South Point Hotel and Casino, here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDWN, where Las Vegas comes to talk.
Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, taking Nevadans to Capitol Hill for the latest on the federal issues that matter most to you.
Eye on Washington, Saturday morning at 9:30 on 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON.
When you're diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, a lot of questions run through your mind.
What am I going to do?
What are my options?
What did I do wrong?
We've had those thoughts too, but some questions can help you move forward.
Visit findyourmbcvoice.com for an interactive guide to help you learn the next steps to take after an MBC diagnosis.
And how to ask the questions that lead to an open and informed conversation with your doctor.
Start finding your voice today at findyourmbcvoice.com.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Wednesday. And I got to tell you something. I'm really looking forward to an event that's going to be helping veterans That is this Saturday night. It is going to be at Boulder Station at the Railroad. Great place. I've seen some great concerts, by the way, in there. And I am honored to MC this event that is put on by Veterans in Politics. It's all for charity. It's all helping veterans, especially those that are in this community. I'm really looking forward to it. It's really great. It's an event they put on once every 2 years. It's affordable, and Andre Agassi is involved with this, as many others, very prominent people. There's going to be some special people that are going to be speaking, including my friend, former Miss Nevada, will be there. Lisa, she's going to be joining us, and many others as well. So it's a great event, and the guys that are putting it on from Veterans in Politics, Steve Sanson and Robert Madoff, joining us in studio right now. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I appreciate it. So we're going to get to this event in a little bit, but I want to talk to you about something that I wanted to save this topic for you guys. What better person to talk to than veterans that do so much for others? And that is the halftime show. But we'll get to the halftime show, but I wanted to talk to you about the national anthem a little bit. We all know that the taking of the knee, Colin Kaepernick for years. I've never been a Colin Kaepernick guy. I don't like the way he's handled that situation. But now we have two very prominent people, certainly in the African-American community, and people that are renowned worldwide. That would be Jay-Z and Beyonce. Jay-Z actually works for the NFL now, okay? During the actual national anthem, he was seen sitting down, not taking a knee, actually sitting in his chair next to Jay-Z. So let me start with you, Steve, because I find this to be troubling. What do you make of this?
Well, thank you for having us, Brian.
Sure.
We really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Let me back up. I'm a Jamaican born, and I came to this country and the right way, got my citizenship.
Sure.
And I feel that I need to give back to a country that has given me so much. So I joined the Marine Corps. And I seen how our military defends this country. The national anthem is our nation's song. Why would anybody want to disrespect our country by taking a knee and sitting down? When I hear the national anthem and I see American flag, I'm at attention saluting. That's how I respect it. Why would anybody want to do that? Especially these two individuals that have making millions and millions of dollars off of American citizens, and have homes and have property in this country that's free. I mean, I've been to a lot of countries all across the world, and United States is foremost the best country as far as freedom, as far as being an entrepreneur, as far as making money, as far as the will just to choose, just to pick, and you have people that just disrespect it like that. It's disgusting, and it should, I think that the military probably should ban them until they get in their right mind and figure out that they need to stand up at attention when the national anthem is playing.
There have been a few times in my life, I'll be honest, where I was standing up and I forgot to take my hat off, and not because I was disrespecting anybody. I just forgot. I just forgot to take it off.
Don't do that again, Brian.
I told myself I'm never going to forget to do that again. I don't agree with people taking a knee. I think there are other platforms to be able to talk about what is a worthy cause. I do think that the relationship between law enforcement and minorities could certainly be a lot better. There's no question about that. But I think that the national anthem is the wrong platform to do it in. That's my personal opinion. And when your employer tells you got to knock it off, then guess what? You got to knock it off. I think Colin Kaepernick took a knee, I want to say for the right reasons, but now I'm thinking it was for the wrong reasons. He knew that his career was ending. This is my personal opinion. And I also believe that he has made more money off the field than on the field.
Exactly.
And I have a problem with that. The fact that Jay-Z works for the NFL, and he's still, and by the way, his excuse was he was working. You're telling me whatever you were doing, it couldn't wait 1 or 2 minutes and you couldn't stand up? I mean, you want to talk about no class. And Beyonce was right there sitting next to him. She should have stood up. Was she working too? Give me a freaking break. I just think it's a disgrace.
And these are the same people, when they have concerts, who do they call? Police.
Exactly.
To do what? Protect them.
Protection, right.
There's a lot of police officers out there that are no good, but there's also a lot of police officers out there that are good. And the only way to change the system is not to dishonor the nation, is to go after the problem. If the problem you have is racist cops on the force, then that's how you need to direct your attention to the racist cop. You don't take out the whole country and just be disrespectful.
Well, there's bad apples in every single profession.
Absolutely.
And taking the few to label the many is something that happens a lot in this day and age, and that's a prime example of it. I want to ask you this, Brian. Do you have more of a problem with Colin Kaepernick, who's actually playing the game, taking a knee, than Jay-Z and Beyonce, who are, by all means, spectators, who happen to be, affiliated with the NFL, not standing up? I have a much bigger problem with someone who's actually playing the game as opposed to a spectator.
I don't want to rank. It's a fair question, but I don't really feel comfortable answering. I have a problem with both.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I have a problem with both.
You put them on the same level, Steve?
I do, because there are many times that I'm going to an event, because I've gone to a lot of political events, and they bring colors in. They bring the American flag and the state flag in, and they're playing the national anthem or they doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and people are sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how disrespectful is
that? Steve,
do they need a class?
It's terrible. Steve, I was reffing a basketball game a few years ago. It was a high school game in town, and they're doing the national anthem. And right behind me, I see a couple kids that are kneeling, that are doing the Kaepernick. When I say kids, they were about 14, 15 years old. They attended the high school. So when the national anthem was over, I took a couple steps back, a couple minutes before the game started, and I said, "Can I ask you kids, why are you doing that?" And their response to me was, "Because Colin Kaepernick is doing it." Their response wasn't, "Well, we want better relationships between cops and police." No, they look up to somebody like that, and then when Jay-Z is seen sitting down, this is a very influential man. Make no mistake about it. Okay, Jay-Z is he's very wealthy. He's a good businessman, arguably one of the most popular rappers, certainly of our generation, and Beyonce right up there too. And either of those performers doing they sell out the T-Mobile Arena like that.
Jay-Z's a mogul.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And Beyonce is an icon.
Exactly. That's my point. So what I'm saying, JD, is when kids see them sitting down like that,
it sets a bad precedent.
It sets a horrible precedence. And I don't think Jay-Z truly understands that. And if he apologized, he said, "Look, I made a horrible mistake. I was distracted. I meant no harm to our veterans. I salute them. I promise you that'll never happen again." I would have been on the radio saying, "You know what? He made a mistake. At least he was a man about it. We all make mistakes. Okay, no problem." But he didn't do that. He doubled down, and he said he was working. So now he's saying it's okay to sit down during the national anthem because you're texting somebody or you have a phone call.
You want to know something? The people that do stuff like that, 99.9% never wore the uniform. Don't have any concept. It's like there was one time I saw somebody trying to burn the American flag. Okay. And I walked up to that person. I'm like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, it's my constitutional right to burn the flag. I have the right to protest and free speech and all that." I said, "Have you ever served in the military?" "No." So you have never seen anybody died for that flag. Anybody got shot down? Anybody took a bullet? Anybody died for that flag? You've never seen that. "Well, it's a piece of cloth." I'm like, really? It's a nation's symbol. It's not a piece of cloth. People have been dying for this flag for over 200 years.
Well, you know what? I'm going to take it a step further. And whether you're a Trump person or not, I don't know if you saw the video when the national anthem was being sung by Demi Lovato, who, by the way, I think she did a fantastic job. Donald Trump is seen orchestrating it. He's moving his fingers back and forth, orchestrating, and then pointing at people and talking during the national anthem. I have a problem with that also. You're the president of the United States. Why don't you just show a little bit of class, even if it's only for 2 minutes a day? When they're doing the national anthem, stay still. Melania had her heart over her chest. Appropriate, right? And he's doing like he's orchestrating a song. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you 10 years old? These are the people that are running the country. Jay-Z, a mogul, like JD said. Okay? Beyonce, the president of the United States. This has to offend people like you that are veterans that have risked your life for this country. And to me, this has nothing to do with politics. If Barack Obama did that, which, by the way, I don't think he ever has, but if he did that, I would be criticizing him too. I don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Stand up, put your hand over your chest, stop acting like a fool.
Barack Obama, there was I remember before he was president, they were playing the national anthem, and he just stood there. He didn't put his hand over his heart.
At least he stood up. Yeah, I'll say that. At least he stood up. Yeah, in a perfect world, would it be nice if I don't always put my hand over my chest. Yeah, he was standing up, orchestrating it like it was a Jay-Z song.
You said he was talking in the middle of it?
Yes, he was talking. He was pointing at other tables. There's a video of it. You saw it. They've showed it on TMZ.
I haven't.
He's orchestrating it.
The orchestrating to me doesn't really bother me, but
Hold on
the
a second.
talking in the middle of the national anthem to me is a little troublesome.
Hold on, JD. You know I'm going to pull back on
That's
you.
fine.
You're okay.
You're more than welcome to,
The
Brian.
president,
Steve.
the president of the United States, during the national anthem, orchestrating it like it was a symphony. You don't think that's disrespectful?
I think it's much more disrespectful to be talking than doing that.
Okay, I agree with you, but that wasn't my question. You don't think it's disrespectful for the president of the United States to be orchestrating a song, something that an 8-year-old would do?
With all fairness, the only thing you're supposed to do when the national anthem is playing is to shut up.
Exactly.
And stand at attention.
Exactly.
That's the only thing you're supposed to do.
And I have the worst ADD in the world, and I can promise
That's-
you I don't talk
that's
during the national anthem.
It doesn't matter
Right.
what political
I
party
think we
you
all-
are.
I
The only
think
thing,
we all
stand up
agree.
at attention and be quiet. That's it.
We all agree on that, and I think it's about respecting the flag, but it's also, to me, it's more than just respecting the flag. To me, it's showing respect and being thankful
For this great nation.
for this great nation and people like yourselves and what you guys do at Veterans in Politics, to all the veterans out
Thank
there
you.
across the world who risk their lives. So I have the freedom to be able to go on the air, and I'm going to tell that story at our event Saturday, because I wouldn't be able to do this every day. I wouldn't be able to wake up in the morning, me and JD being able to do a radio show. It's a privilege. And we say a lot of crazy things on this show. We get a lot of crazy phone calls, but I enjoy it. I enjoy what I do. And I enjoy what I do because of people like you that risk your life for the freedom for me to be able to do that. And I think too many Americans forget that. The president forgets it, and many others.
But you know, one thing we need to take in mind is that I remember when Senator Pence, then Senator Pence, and Donald Trump was running for president, and it was up in Henderson, the Pavilion.
Yep.
And I approached Senator Pence and I said, hey, you know, what is a Pence-Trump administration going to do for our men and women that are incarcerated in state and federal prisons?
Right.
Instead of incarcerating them, we need to treat them. You don't train them for combat and train them to go kill the enemy and then bring them back into society and expect them to be all right in the
I
head.
expect normalcy.
You know, a police officer shoots his weapon. He gets 6 months paid administrative leave. A combat veteran shoots his weapon, kills the enemy. He's in the fight the next day. He's in the fight the next day. He's in the fight the next day. So why does a cop get 6 months paid administrative leave for just discharging their weapon, not even hitting anything?
Right.
But a combat veteran, and then he goes to, and then if he does hit something and injured somebody, a police officer, they get all kinds of psychiatric evaluation to go back on the force. But a combat veteran, day in, day out of the fight for 6, 7 months, 2 tours, 3 tours, 4 tours, 5 tours, and you expect them to come back to normalcy?
It's
and
not
don't
An example of that would be American Sniper.
Right, and don't end up in the judicial system for something?
It's not possible. It's not possible. You're absolutely
Well,
right.
it's certainly unreasonable.
Yeah, well, obviously, I wanted you guys in studio to talk about these issues, yourself and Robert, but I also want to talk about this great
Sure.
event that's coming up on Saturday that I am honored to be able to MC and be a part of.
And thank you for doing it.
Absolutely, it is my pleasure. It truly is an honor to do it, and I want to bring Robert into this equation as well. There's going to be other people. I know you've reached out to other people. There's other people that are involved in this thing, so I'm excited to hear about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Prior to my talking about that,
Talking about segment, yep.
I just want to qualify something. I was never in the military.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a strong believer in the military and our police.
Mm-hmm.
And what Colin Kaepernick did was absolutely 100% wrong. He was going to be out of the NFL eventually in the next year or two. He had one good season.
Yeah, why didn't he do it when he was a Super Bowl quarterback?
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
Very convenient timing.
Yes. Getting to the event itself, it's the Gala Ball that's going to be held at the Boulder Station Casinos beginning at 5 o'clock. We have Mayor John Lee, who will be the keynote speaker, and Lisa Sutton.
Yep, she's
Lisa
a former
Song Sutton.
Song Sutton.
Right.
She's former Miss Nevada, and now she's actually running for office as a Republican.
That is fantastic.
Yep, it's awesome.
Again, we want to thank Veterans in Politics. Want to thank you, Brian.
Absolutely.
And also another radio host, Kevin Wall, for participating in this
Kevin's a
very
really nice guy. I used to work with him.
worthwhile event.
Yep.
And he said to say hello to you.
Oh, I will see him Saturday.
We were on his show yesterday.
Oh, very cool. Okay, Kevin's a good guy.
I also like to thank a number of people, Michael Gaughan and Andre Agassi to begin with. They allowed us to have military vets sponsored to this worthwhile event.
So there's going to be a lot of military people there.
Yes.
That's
Yes, there is.
fantastic. That's great. And by the way, the first gentleman you mentioned, owner of the South Point, he does a lot of great things
Yes, he does.
in this city. He really does, and so does Andre Agassi. Those are two heroes as far as I'm concerned because, yes, they're wealthy people, they're very successful people, but they've given back, and that's very important.
Absolutely.
That's very important. Yeah.
And, and that, and also I'd like to thank two florists, Flowers by Michelle and Tiger Lily Floral. They're contributing our floral arrangements and the roses. And basically, there's a group out there, a business called Memories You Can Hold. It's amazing what the technology they can do to put an imprint, a picture of your loved
3D.
one, onto a statuette. I'm not really that familiar with it.
That's
but,
cool.
Anyway, there are some people here that in Las Vegas that when I initially was asked to be the chairperson for the gala event, I was honored. And naturally, we needed some radio people and TV people. I contacted 3 people, the 3 top hosts in the city. You yourself, Brian.
JD, you're going
And
to be there
JD.
too, right?
I will be there.
With your wife? I hope so.
And Kevin Wall and Steve Sanchez. Fortunately, we had 2 of the 3 gentlemen actually do something, participating in the event. Mr. Sanchez, through a series of emails that I had communication with his producer, I believe his name's Nate, they said, absolutely, 1,000%, we'll have you on the air, we'll get really fully involved. Well, thank God I'm not holding my breath because I would have died. There was nothing done by Mr. Sanchez, and he talks a good game about being a military supporter and everything else. Well, obviously he's not, because I contacted him the same time that I contacted Mr. Brian Shapiro and Kevin Wall a couple months ago, and we communicated back and forth all the time with emails, but nothing, zero.
Well,
So-
here's what I'll say to that. I can only
Please.
control what I do.
Absolutely.
I have a personal friendship with Kevin Wall. I
Right.
believe he's a good guy. I used to work with him. But I only speak for myself, and
Right.
here's what I'll tell you, and I am no hero. I never served this country. I'm not a hero like you, Steve.
Thank you.
But the first time I got that email from you, Steve, I read the first sentence, and the word veterans came in there. And even though I did read the rest of the email, I didn't have to, because once I saw that word, boom.
And I can confirm that he actually screenshotted that and sent it to me within minutes.
I did,
And
because I was honored.
And
Because
our
I was
entire
honored.
group, me
I-
and Stein
I
and Chris
I
Wynn.
screenshotted that to
Yeah.
everybody, and I said, "Look at this honor. Look at what these people have asked me to do." I really did do that. JD's right, and because when it's about our veterans, first of all, there's no excuse to at least not respond to somebody. It could be one of my ex-girlfriends that I haven't talked to in 20 years, and I will still respond to her.
Are you that old, Brian?
I'm pretty old. I'm almost 40
And
years
there's no
old.
excuse to commit to something and then not follow through with the commitment.
By the way, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going on a date. I can't make it Saturday. No, I'm just kidding. It was a horrible joke. But no, but seriously, in all honesty,
I say bring the date.
I should. Well, I'm bringing Lisa. No, I'm just kidding. I
There
wish.
you go.
But no, in all seriousness, I know that there are some organizations, professional teams and organizations that have been involved, and then there are some that have not been as much involved as you would have liked. I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm sad to hear that. Certainly, we're not going to talk about that on Saturday, and we're not going to mention we're not going to mention the names or organizations of any people that were not involved. What I plan to do is get up there and talk about the great people who are involved, the great people that have decided to take time and money to help for your cause, because I think that's extremely important. The Andre Agassis of the world, people like that who have done so many great things for this community. Not everybody has the time to do it. Not everybody. Maybe it's a scheduling, whatever the case may be, but there's never an excuse to not respond or ignore somebody, and I would never do that to anybody. I just want to make that clear, and it is an honor to be able to be a part of this great event. So talk to me a little bit more about how people can get involved if they want to go to this event Saturday. Give me the pricing, and when does it start? When does it end? There's a dinner involved. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, it's going to be on Saturday, February 8th, this Saturday, at the Boulder Station Casino, inside of the Pasta Cusana restaurant. It was moved from the Railhead to the Pasta Cusana restaurant.
Yep.
From 5 to 6 is cocktail hour. From 6 to 8 is going to be dinner. And during that time, there are going to be yourself, Master of Ceremonies. There's going to be invocation by Dave Jockman, who's with the Marine Corps League. There's going to be the color guards by the Clark High School ROTC program.
Oh, cool.
There's going to be the national anthem sung by a brilliant opera voice. His name is Jesse Law. There's going to be the guest speaker, Lisa Sutton. There's going to be the keynote speaker, Mayor of North Las Vegas, John Lee. There's going to be the awards presentator. That's going to be Kevin Wall. And he's going to present a series of 3 different awards.
You're not giving an award to Rush Limbaugh, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I'm happy to hear. Go ahead. I'm sorry. It's a horrible joke. Go ahead.
Is he invited?
I don't think so.
I didn't see him on the attendance roster. But
I didn't contact him.
But you know that there are more people that sponsored the event that could not be there.
Sure.
You have Las Vegas Justice of the Peace Amy Cellini. You have former Las Vegas Municipal Court Judge Heidi Omasi. You have Clark County District Court Judge William Kephart.
And they all have sponsored this.
They all have
That's
sponsored.
great.
In fact, Judge Kephart is going to be in attendance, and he sponsored the table.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's
so
great.
you have other judges like Tim Williams, Clark County District Court Judge. So and there's several candidates that are running for the office of judge that's going to be there. There's a state senator going to be there, James Arnshaw. I mean, so there's a lot of folks that are going to be there. A lot of veterans are going to be there. It's $125 a person, $250 for a couple. A table seat 8 is $1,000.
Gotcha.
And we have raised enough money, so we've opened it up to offer veterans free and their spouse if they like to attend.
That's great.
And veterans, if you're hearing me and you served in any one of our 5 branches.
We have a lot of veterans that call into this show on a daily basis.
And I do say 5 branches. You got Marine, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. Anyways, and they probably gonna be there's gonna be a
Space
6,
Force.
but they're not fully functioned yet with the Space Force. But any of you veterans out there or a veteran out there, have them submit their DD-214, not a fake DD-214 because I've caught 2 fake DD-214s already. A legitimate DD-214.
What exactly is a DD-214?
They're separation papers from the military.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Or their veterans ID, and if they was to send it to this email address, VIPIpresident@cs.com, VIPIpresident@cs.com, I would make sure that they're on the attendance list. And don't say you're going to come, folks, and not show up because it was a free meal.
Yes.
So 2 questions
I
for
could
you.
give it to somebody else.
Exactly.
What's the total capacity of the room, and what are you serving for dinner?
That's what's on JD's.
Well, I know there's going to be a steak and a fish dish.
Ooh,
I believe.
you can't go wrong with that.
I think that might be a chicken dish. I'm not positively certain because I haven't looked at the menu in a while.
I think there is going to be a chicken dish.
Yes.
Good. Healthy. I like it.
Healthy is the best way.
I hate it. You look at my tummy; it's getting large.
It's supposed to be a 5-course meal that I do know.
That's
dessert
awesome.
and all that stuff.
Well, gentlemen, let me just say this again because we only got about a minute here left to go. I'm honored and privileged to be able to be at your event Saturday. I know it's going to be a lot of fun and it's going to be a great night. I know JD is going to be there as well. I believe our producer Stein is going to be showing up to this event as well. So we all want to be there and support what you guys do. You guys do some great things.
Well, let me tell you how they could get their tickets.
Yes,
they go
go
to
ahead.
veteransinpolitics.org and hit the donation button, or they could go to Eventbrite and put Veterans in Politics Valentine's Day Ball and Gala, or they could go to Facebook and do the same thing.
Awesome.
And also, if there's anybody out there that would like to sponsor a military vet, you can call me at 702-449-1554. We would appreciate it, and so much more the vets would appreciate
And also,
it.
if you've reached out to anybody and they haven't gotten back to you, hopefully they will do so and do their due diligence. We appreciate both of you coming in studio.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a
Can't
lot,
wait for
guys.
Saturday night.
We'll see you Saturday
We are
night.
going to. Yep. We will take a 21-hour break. See you bright and early tomorrow, folks. Have a great day.
Beautiful.